Jai Hind, future officers. I, Chinmay Mahale, welcome you all again to this channel, Defense Fabrics. So, today, as the thumbnail clearly explains, what we'll be doing is we'll be starting the revision series for your NDA maths. Okay. Now, I'll just brief you about how we will be going ahead in this series. So, what I have done is I have selected some particular PYQs, the ones which have been repeated a lot of times. Okay, and then we'll be revising the concepts and the topics through those PYQs. So, I'll be going topic by topic in this. So, what I suggest is that how much ever good or bad you are in these topics, I would suggest that stick with the video and the solution till the end. Okay, because I'll not tell you only the solution, but I'll also tell you the steps and why do we have to use those steps. Okay, because there are multiple ways to solve a question. Okay, especially in topics like trigonometry or let's say some topics of algebra and all, there are multiple ways. Okay, so you need to know the exact approach and you need to know why we are doing whatever we are doing. Okay, and I will also tell you a few concepts which you can do right now, even though there are, let's say, 3 weeks or maybe a little less than 3 weeks left for the exam. But still, even at this point, if you complete the entire series, whatever I'm putting, I'll put, let's say, around 3 videos per week. So you can guess like 3 weeks are there. So I'll put maybe around 8 to 10 videos. So even if you watch all the videos thoroughly, if you do some self study about it and sorry, after it, so you can increase your score quite well. If you are somewhere around 100, right now, you can easily take it to 140, 150. Okay. And if you are someone who has done a little bit of maths in your 11th, 12th, but you haven't practiced for NDA, you can pretty easily clear your cutoff or maybe reach till 100. And if you are someone who hasn't done anything and who doesn't even understand anything about maths, still if you do even these concepts and these questions, there are high chances that you will be clearing the cutoff, at least the cutoff for maths, okay, which is 75 marks. I hope you guys know the pattern and everything. Okay. So, but of course, if you haven't done anything till now, you will have to put a lot of extra efforts. ठीक है, उसमें तो कोई doubt नहीं है. ठीक है. So let's get started without wasting any time. And now, so as I told, today we'll be covering set theory and complex numbers mainly. Okay. Also, there are a few topics which are interrelated, and the questions are also mixed from those topics. तो वैसे भी questions करेंगे हम, but बस ध्यान रखना कि that's why I'm saying that watch all the questions, all the solutions, and all the videos so that you don't miss out on anything. Okay. चलो. So now coming to the first question. So here, now these are all PYQs. Okay. Sometimes someone might feel that this question is so difficult, or maybe someone might feel that this question is so easy. But these are all PYQs. Okay. So the first question is they have asked you the number of proper subsets. Okay. Now the thing is that everyone knows that what is a subset. So what is a subset? Basically, a subset is if this is a set, then anything which is not outside this can be called as a subset. अगर हम बहुत ही plain layman language में बोले तो, being more technical, what can we say? That anything which is inside this or the entire circle, that is the subset. कि मतलब this is a subset, this is a subset, this is a subset, but this is not a subset because there are things which are outside this circle also. Okay. Now what is a proper subset? Proper subset is everything which is inside this circle except the circle itself. So except the circle, matlab what is this circle? Basically, this circle represents the set of all these elements. Okay. So what does subset mean? जैसे for example, if I write some subsets of this, तो ये एक subset हो गया, है ना? Then I can write this, or I can write this, anything, or maybe even phi. Phi क्या होता है? Null set. So all these are subsets of this set. Now what is proper subset? All the subsets excluding this set itself. ठीक है? So total there are 2 power n subsets. ठीक है? And the set of subsets is called a power set. ठीक है? So generally how many elements are there in a power set? There are 2 power n elements where n is the cardinality of this set. Cardinality means basically like in this set there are 4 elements, so cardinality is 4. ठीक है? So power set will have 2 power 4, which is 16 elements. But now we need proper subsets. So proper subsets is all the subsets except the set itself, because a set is a subset of itself also, na? If I say that this is a circle, so this circle is a subset of itself also. Okay. So just ignore this set. That means the number of proper subsets are always 2 power n minus 1. माइनस वन बाहर है, बहुत सारे लोग ऐसा कुछ कर देते हैं. There is no logic to this, तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. So 2 power n minus 1, which is in this case 2 power 4 minus 1, which is 15. So this is again a PYQ. ये प्रॉपर वर्ड देख के बहुत सारे लोग डर जाते हैं. Many people leave it because they don't know the meaning. ठीक है. So I hope you are not someone like that. ठीक है, ऐसे नहीं करना है. There are some technical terms जिनका meaning पता होना चाहिए. Now the next. So such questions, whenever you have questions on, you can say numerical questions on set theory, it's best that you visualize it through Venn diagram. Okay, so let's draw a Venn diagram. So it says U is 800. U means universal set. ठीक है, मतलब ये पूरा जो box है, it contains 800 elements. Okay, the whole डब्बा. Now n of A is 250. So let's draw this set A. This has 250 elements. N of B is 300. Okay, so this is B, which has 300 elements. Now it says that n of A intersection B. ये तो पता ही होगा कि this is for intersection, this is for union. ठीक है. Intersection means the common part. ठीक है. And union means all. So intersection has 200 elements. मतलब यहाँ पे बीच में there are 200 elements. Okay. Now just make sure that whenever such things are written, this 250 doesn't mean it is only this much. ठीक है. ये 250 इसके लिए नहीं होता है. 250 पूरे A set के लिए है. So this 250 includes this 200 also. ठीक है, वरना someone will say कि ये total तो 800 से ज़्यादा हो गया. So of course 800 से ज़्यादा हो गया because this 200 is counted in set A and set B both. Okay. So then what is A complement intersection B complement? Now what is this dash? This is everything that is not in A. Not in A तो कहाँ पे होगा? Universal set में होगा, है ना? And what is B dash? That is something which is not in B. Okay, now you have to find what is that area which is the intersection of both these things. अब not in A मतलब क्या हो गया? This thing. Okay, this is basically outside A, and not in B is what? Not in B is this thing. चलो मैं नीचे एक और diagram बनाता हूँ so that it is a little more clear. Okay, so this is set A, set B. Okay. Now by the way, one more thing. If you just check with 800, this A and B union is not making us giving us 800 elements. है ना? So if you just check, this is 250, this is 300. That means in total they have how many? 550 elements. But out of these 550, there are 200 which are common. So we need to subtract this 200 now because we have counted them twice. So if you just subtract, you will get 350 elements. Right? That means there are only 350 elements which are there in A union B. तो बचे हुए जो 450 है वो कहाँ गए? They are in the universal set. So यहाँ पे I'll just write 450. Okay. Now what we need to check is what is A complement intersection B complement. So what is A complement? A complement is everything which is not in A. That means this whole thing and the universal set. ठीक है, बचा हुआ. And what is B complement? B complement is this thing and the remaining universal set. So if you see, if you take the intersection of both of them, then only the remaining part, this is remaining. ठीक है. So this is basically your A complement intersection B complement, है ना? So how many elements are there? Already we had found out 450. So that is the answer. वैसे इसको अगर तुम लिखने जाओगे, in equations you can write that universal set minus n of A union B. ठीक है? n लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है because now we are just writing it in the set form. अगर हमने इसको cardinality में लिखा तब तुम n डाल देना. ठीक है? तो union मतलब sorry universal set minus the union of A and B, and that will be your basically A intersection sorry A dash intersection B dash. अच्छा ध्यान रखना कि ये जो इंटरसेक्शन है ना ये बीच में नहीं आ रहा है कि ये तो वैसे भी A कॉम्प्लीमेंट का भी पार्ट नहीं है B कॉम्प्लीमेंट का भी पार्ट नहीं है. दिस इज नॉट पार्ट ऑफ A कॉम्प्लीमेंट because this is inside A ना. That's why. Now the next set, so it says that there is a universal set from 1 to 8 such that it is having all natural numbers. Then if A is 1 2 3 4, if B is 2 4 6 8, then what is the cardinal number of complement of A minus B? ध्यान रखना, complement of A minus B. Okay, what many people do is they just find out A minus B, okay, and then they just stick the answer. यहाँ पे they have asked complement of A minus B, मतलब not in A minus B. ठीक है, now first we need to find what is A minus B. So A minus B is nothing but something in A and not in B. ये बहुत जरूरी है, ठीक है. It should be in A and it should not be in B. Okay. So what are the elements which are there in A but not in B? So 1, if you check 1, 1 is not there in B. So you can say okay, 1 आएगा. Then 2, 2 is there in B. So 2 we will strike out. 3, 3 is also not there in B. Then 4, 4 is there. So we'll strike out. Okay. So this is your A minus B. Okay. Now what will be A minus B dash? All the elements which are not in A minus B. And what is from where do you have to take the complement? From the universal set. तो यूनिवर्सल सेट में तो 1 to 8 है ना, तो 1 to 8 छोड़ के बाकी एलिमेंट्स लाइक 2 4 5 and so on. ठीक है, so basically your universal set has 8 numbers, your A minus B has 2 numbers, so how many numbers remain? 6. So there are 6 numbers in A minus B complement. Okay, so always read the question very clearly and thoroughly. Okay, so because many a times what happens is the concepts or the questions which are being asked are very easy, but they will put some traps like these. These are not even traps, these are just like you have to be alert, as simple as that. ठीक है, बहुत ही छोटे छोटे और आसान से क्वेश्चन आते हैं, but you guys make silly mistakes and then you guys go and say that paper tough था, या maybe you guys want to file a court case saying कि मैंने तो सारे टिक सही किए थे, वो पता नहीं गलत दे दी उन्होंने. ठीक है, तो ऐसा नहीं होता है, you just have to read the questions carefully. For that what you can do is, now since you have a pen and paper test, just underline what is being asked. Question तुमने पढ़ा, what is asked, what is the cardinal number of complement of A minus B, इसको underline करो, so that when you solve everything you just check कि जो तुमने underline किया वही टिक कर रहे हो कि कुछ और टिक कर रहे हो. And if you see A minus B का option 2 उन्होंने सबसे पहले दिया है. Okay, so they will do these things. Now the next thing, the shaded region represents what? Okay, so if you see what is this shaded region, this is your A intersection C, ऊपर जो है ये वाला, this is your A intersection C, and what is this? This is A intersection B. And what are you doing? You are adding these two ना, मतलब you are taking this and this, and का मतलब क्या होता है? You are taking the union of these two. So you can say A intersection C union A intersection B. And now just check with the option. Option D is there. Okay, so it's very simple. You have to do it in smaller steps. You can very easily find out the answers. And trust me, these are PYQ, and these are not being asked once but twice or thrice. Okay? So you can imagine that sometimes even, and see, please don't miss set theory. If you don't know anything in life, at least you should be able to solve these 10 questions of set theory which will come. ठीक है, और हर साल आते हैं, their questions come from set theory and they are very easy. They are the ones that if you miss out on set theory and then if you feel like you will do really good in calculus and all, so there's no point, because you see how much time we took to solve this question. In exam you might take 30 seconds, so you can imagine in 30 seconds if you are getting 2.5 marks, so then और क्या चाहिए left में, है ना? So obviously there will be questions which will take more time, so you have to save your time in such questions. So please do not miss out on easy concepts and easy topics. Okay, now again this question, ये कोई question भी नहीं है NDA types का, but चलो मतलब NDA के level का question नहीं है पर पूछा गया है, that if Q is a set such that x is x equal to 1 upon y, where y are all natural numbers, यानी कि x क्या होगा? 1 upon all natural numbers, यानी 1 by 1 1 by 2 1 by 3, ऐसा कोई सेट होगा. ठीक है, ऐसे मतलब x will be these numbers and q will be a set of all these numbers. Then they have asked which of these can be q. Can 0 be q? No, 0 cannot be q, because if you see 0 cannot be an element of these numbers na. Then they say can 1 be a part of q? So yes, 1 can be a part of q because 1 by 1. Okay, so 1 is possible, so B will be the answer. Just for safe side you can check the other options also कि ऐसा तो नहीं हो रहा कि दो options से ही आ रहा है, because if two options are correct then maybe we are solving it in a wrong way. So 2 is the element of Q. 2 matlab if 2 has to be 1 by x, then x has to be half. This is not possible because x has to be only a, sorry matlab 1 by y diya hai, so you take the variable as y. So that means y equal to half, but that is not possible because y has to be a natural number. So this is not possible. And if 2 by 3 is, ये तो कभी possible नहीं है because if you just take y as 2 by 3, so sorry, not y but 1 by y, which is x as 2 by 3. So 1 by y is 2 by 3, y is 3 by 2. Again, not possible because y has to be natural. So only 1 is possible because if x is equal to 1 by y, which is equal to 1, y can be 1. Na? If y to 1 to allowed hai, so 1 is the only possible answer. Now if you use set of all whole numbers less than 12, अच्छा ये less than 12 पे ध्यान रखना, ठीक है? Many people will write u as like this. Okay. Some people will write u as this. इसमें दो चीजें ध्यान रखनी है. There are two things which you need to remember. One, that it is whole numbers. Whole numbers start from 0. ठीक है? 0 to infinity. ठीक है? So whole numbers start from 0. Now less than 12 है. It's not written less than or equal to 12. So you will not take 12 in this. So this is wrong. This is right. Okay. Some people might start from 1 also. वो तो गलत ही है पूरे. ठीक है? But if you are writing 12, then you are wrong. ठीक है? Now set A is set of all whole numbers less than 10. तो ठीक है 0 से लेके 9 तक. Now see in the exam you don't need to do all this. ठीक है? In the exam you don't need to write all these steps and all. The reason why I'm writing the steps and explaining is because I'm teaching ना. तो मैं solve नहीं कर रहा हूँ सिर्फ. I'm not giving you a solution kind of a thing. I'm giving you a solution plus practice. Exam में थोड़ी practice करोगे. Exam में तो फटाफट लिखोगे. So exam में only write those things which are required. ठीक है? Sometimes what happens is when you're not able to solve a question, mostly maybe in trigonometry or let's say calculus or something, then if you write the given part, then it becomes easier to visualize. See, this is the information which I have and this is what I need. So in that case it is fine, but for easier concepts it's not needed. ठीक है? तो ये तो मैं तुम्हारे लिए लिख रहा हूँ. तो एग्जाम में ये सब मत करना. Now set B is set of all odd natural numbers less than 10. So odd natural less than 10. ठीक है? So odd natural यानी 1, 3, 5, 7 till 9. Right. Now what is A intersection B dash? यहाँ पे dash भी है, ठीक है? छोटा सा dash भी था. अगर किसी ने नहीं देखा होगा तो वीडियो पीछे जाके देखना, वहाँ पे dash भी है. So what is A intersection B dash? So first of all let's find what is A intersection B. अच्छा dash किसके साथ लेना है? Universal set. The complement is always being taken with universal set. Okay. I mean, if you say A dash, then it is all the elements which are in A. Sorry, which are not in A but in the universal set, of course. So what is A intersection B? So what is the intersection of these two? B is entirely there in A. So A intersection B will be simply B, yani ki all these elements 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. This is your A intersection B. So what will be A intersection B dash? Also don't make this mistake of intersection and union. यहाँ पे देखना क्या दिया हुआ है. They have given intersection, so don't take union by mistake. Okay? Because they will give the answer of union also. Union लेके जो answer आएगा वो भी देंगे वो option में जानबूझ के. इसमें शायद नहीं है but generally देते हैं. तो A intersection B dash क्या हो जाएगा? All the numbers which are there in this but not in this. So you write 0, 2. अच्छा, once you write 0, 2, you can see that all these three get eliminated. Only one option is left. ठीक है? तो थोड़ा option देखकर भी solve करना. But anyway, if you want to solve it entirely, so just write the remaining numbers 10 and the last number 11. एक ही odd number बच गया था 11. All the other odd numbers were already covered till in this. ठीक है? So only one was left. So 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. ठीक है? This is the answer. So many a times you also keep looking at the options in between so that you get to know that how is the answer given, or you can say that in which format is the answer given. Many a times what happens is they might just ask you the number. जैसे इसमें set पूछा है ना, they might ask you this. So what is n of A intersection B dash? तो n पूछा है तो you just need the numbers, you don't need the elements. तो तुम्हें पता है कि 0 to 11 what is the cardinality? It is 12 because you have to count 0 also ना. तो 1, 2, 3, 4 ऐसे 12 नंबर. फिर ए इंटरसेक्शन बी में कितने नंबर है, 1 2 3 4 5, तो यहाँ पे कितने होने चाहिए, 7. So this set should have 7 numbers. Actually, just looking at this also, you could have seen the options. कि इसमें 4 numbers है, इसमें 5 है, इसमें 7 है, इसमें 4 है. So this has to be the answer. ठीक है? So just looking at the option also, you can be a little more smart and solve it. Now this question. So A is given, B is given. You have been asked what is B minus A. What is B minus A? Elements which are in B, not in A. ठीक है? माइनस का क्या मतलब होता है सेट में? The elements which are there in the first set but not in the second set. ठीक है? First में है, second में नहीं है. This is the meaning of minus. So in B and not in A. ऐसा कौन सा है? B itself is an empty set. So there is no such element which is there in B but not in A. The answer is simply Y. Okay? Empty set. So you see such questions are also asked. So the reason why I am giving you such questions is to tell you the concept, not to solve the question. देखो solve करना एक अलग चीज है. I mean in the exam you have to only and only solve. But when you are practicing, don't just focus on solving. Because if you focus only and only on solving, then your knowledge and your practice is very, very limited. And that is the one of the biggest mistakes which people do in maths. People solve a question and go ahead. Don't do that. Just look around कि भाई उस question के आसपास और क्या चीजें आ सकती है. ठीक है? Like how I showed it to you in the previous few questions. So even if we are doing set theory, you have to analyze a little. पीपल से ना एनालाइज करके पढ़ो, तो क्या एनालाइज करो? ठीक है, खुद का परफॉर्मेंस, खुद का माइंडसेट तो एनालाइज करना ही है, साथ में यू आल्सो हैव टू एनालाइज व्हाट इज द माइंडसेट ऑफ द एग्जामिनर, व्हाट दे रियली वांट टू नो. अब इस क्वेश्चन में एग्जामिनर क्या जानना चाहता है? कुछ नहीं जानना चाहता है यार, मे बी जस्ट वांट्स टू टेस्ट योर थोड़ा बहुत अलर्टनेस और आई डोंट नो व्हाट, बट इट्स वेरी इजी, है ना. एंड ट्रस्ट मी, इजी एग्जाम्स, very few people understand this, but this is my theory and I have experienced this. I have believed in this for such a long time, even right from my 11th 12th. So as you have seen in the first slide, I have cleared the advanced as well. So उस exam में भी मुझे ये realize हुआ that easy exams are tough to crack because I gave advanced in, मतलब तो जो तुम्हारा JEE advanced होता है, that I gave in 2015. So you can see the 2015 paper. 2014 तक they had kept a pattern. In 2015 they changed the pattern entirely. ठीक है, so it was a big surprise or you can say a big shock for us. ठीक है, it was a very tough paper. But this theory is there that easy exams are tough to crack, and the opposite is true, that tough exams are easy to crack. Why is it so? Because if the paper is easy, then any Tom, Dick and Harry will be able to solve the question. Okay, अगर मैं ऐसे क्वेश्चंस पूछने लग गया एनडीए में सारे, one of them is like 1 or 2 is fine, but if let's say 100 out of 120 questions are easy, so that means that everyone will get these 100 questions, है ना. So it will be very, very tough to crack the exam because someone who hasn't studied will also be solving the question which you can solve, है ना. So if the exam is tough, then what will happen? Maybe only 20 to 30 questions will be on the easier side, which everyone can do. So maybe people will be some hanging around the cutoff somewhere, and you will have the chance to go ahead and score the marks, which will help you in merit. एक और disadvantage क्या है easy exam का? That in case you make a silly mistake, just in case you make a silly mistake, जैसे for example they have asked you a minus b या फिर a minus b कॉम्प्लीमेंट पूछा है और तुमने a minus b का आंसर टिक करके आ गए, जैसे पिछला एक क्वेश्चन था ना, that the answer of this was 6 and the answer of this was 2. Maybe you ticked 2, answer 6 tha. If the paper is easy and you are making silly mistake, that means that 100 people are going to, or let's say not 100, but let's say there are 2 lakh people. So 90% of them will tick the correct answer and you will tick the wrong answer. तो जहाँ पे सारे के सारे बच्चों के पॉजिटिव मार्क्स आ रहे, you are getting negative marks. Okay, so getting it. So in easy exams, the reward is very less. If you are solving a question, the reward that you get for solving that question is very, very less. ठीक है, इससे हाँ ठीक है, सबने किया, कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है, but the punishment is very high, or you can say the punishment is severe, because everyone is getting 2.5 and you are getting minus 0.83. Getting my point? So the punishment of not solving a question is very high in an easy exam, but in tough exam it's the reverse. The punishment of not solving a question is not that high, because anyway very few people are solving it, but the reward of solving a question is very high. Okay, so that is a good thing about the tough exam. So the same thing happened ना कि 2015 का जो JEE advanced का पेपर पैटर्न था, they had given minus marks in multiple options also. अभी शायद उन्होंने बहुत चेंजेस किए बाद में, because there were a lot of things that happened after this. But previously in 2015 paper, for multiple choice questions, if let's say the answer is ABC, multiple choice पता है ना, the questions which have more than one option correct. So let's say the answer is ABC and you have ticked AB, so you will get -2 marks. -2, just imagine, it's not even -1 or something. If you tick ABC, you will get +4. Anything apart from ABC, you will get -2. Anything. And now they are doing maybe some partial marking. If you just do AB, you will get 1 mark for every option, you will get +2 marks. Something like this, they have done some partial marking. But if you tick the wrong option, then you will get negative. ऐसा कुछ तो किया. Like if ABC is the answer, and if you tick D with any other combination, then you will get minus marks. Something like that. पहले ऐसा नहीं था. In 2015, the paper which I gave, this was the paper pattern. So half of the people fainted at that place only. Fainted, I mean not literally, but you know, mentally they just gave up. कि भाई ऐसा कौन पेपर बनाता है? I mean ये पेपर नहीं होगा. And they increased the marks also. Generally, the JEE advanced paper was 360 marks till 2014. In 2015, they made it 504. 504 marks का पेपर बना दिया, जो पहले 360 का था. So people came with a strategy, and everything was null and void when the paper came. But the cutoff was very very low in this exam. I don't remember, but it was very low. ठीक है, मतलब वैसे भी JEE advanced the cutoff is anyway very low, but in this exam it went even more less. ठीक है, so when people are not able to attempt the exam, if the exam is tough, then it's better for you to be even more alert, because if you do even I would say even the bare minimum part, you will be able to clear the exam. Okay, if the exam is tough. Hello. Now let's move on to the next question. So it says the for set of all natural numbers, the universal set can be. अब universal set, what is the universal set for natural numbers? It should be it should be something that covers all the natural numbers. है ना? ऐसा कोई set जिसमें सारे natural number आते हो. Now they have said odd numbers. Will odd numbers have all the natural numbers? Of course not. Will all the even numbers have all the natural? Not. Will all the integers have natural numbers? Yes. But let's take the fourth option. All prime numbers? No. Because there are composite numbers also, which are natural. So set of all integers will have all the natural numbers. By the way, what are integers? Anything that has a 0 decimal part. Okay. The decimal part of you can say a number is 0. So it can be negative also. Many people have this doubt that do we consider negative numbers in integers or not? So of course you do. So integers are basically you can say -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3 and all. जिसका भी decimal part 0 है सब कुछ. And of course anything below, of course -3 के पहले भी सारा कुछ जितने भी integers है, then you also include 0 and then 1, 2, 3. From this set onwards we call them whole. For this set onwards we call them natural. And all this entire thing we call them, what do we call them? Integers. Sorry. तो ये बेसिक चीजें हैं. I mean 99% of you must be knowing, but किसी एक दो को अगर नहीं पता होगा तो you can just maybe remember. So which of the following is not an empty set? ठीक है, ये not वाले questions ना बहुत तंग करते हैं, because many of you will tick the empty set. The first option which you see empty set, you will tick and go ahead. ऐसा मत करना. So this not is very important. अंडरलाइन करके रखना है इसको. और ये यूपीएससी नॉट बहुत पूछती है. ठीक है, दे विल आस्क यू व्हिच ऑफ दीज इज नॉट दिस नॉट दैट. तुम्हारे जीएस में भी आते हैं बहुत सारे ये नॉट वाले क्वेश्चन. ठीक है, व्हिच ऑफ दीज इज इनकरेक्ट, है ना. मुझे याद है वंस दे हैड आल्सो आस्क्ड कि व्हिच ऑफ दीज इज नॉट इनकरेक्ट. मतलब भाई देखो, सीधा सीधा करेक्ट नहीं पूछा, पहले तो इनकरेक्ट डाला वर्ड, उसके बाद नॉट भी लगाया. दिस इज वेरी रेयर केस. आई हैड सीन दिस आई थिंक ओनली वंस और ट्वाइस, बट हो सकता है. यू नेवर नो यार. इट्स यूपीएससी, दे माइट पुट एनी ट्रैप. अगर क्वेश्चन आसान होगा तो फिर ऐसा कुछ लैंग्वेज में खेलेंगे वो. ठीक है, So let's see these now. X is a multiple of 7 and x is less than 7. Is that possible? Of course not. है ना? So this is empty set. X is multiple of 7. What are multiples of 7? 7, 14, 21 and so on. And they had said less than, equal to भी नहीं डाला है. तो ऐसा कोई नंबर जो इसमें 7 से छोटा हो, not possible. Set of common points of two parallel lines in a plane. Are there any common points in parallel lines? Of course not. So this is also empty. X such that 6 plus 2x is greater than 5x plus 3. Okay. Now we will solve this later. Let's see. Set of smallest whole number. Now smallest whole number क्या होता है? Of course there is a smallest whole number ना. 0 is the smallest whole number. So this is not an empty set. So this will be your answer. Okay. If you want to stay safe in the exam, you can just tick D and go ahead. But abhi we are practicing, so let's check with C also. Let's just solve this. So if I take 2x on this side, 6 on this side, become 3 greater than 3x. That means x is less than 1. Okay, इसे cancel कर दो. X less than 1. And they are saying कि x is less than 1 and x is a natural number. It's not possible na, because natural numbers start from 1, 2, 3 and so on. So this is also empty set. Okay, so there are 3 empty sets. Fourth one is the not the empty set. So if you see, if you would have not read this word, if you didn't read this word carefully na, so you would have just seen the first example. Okay, this is empty. You would have ticked it and you would have gone ahead. ठीक है. और बाद में फिर वही घर जाके कोर्ट केस करने की बात करते कि मैं तो सारा सही करके आया था, इन लोगों ने गलत किया, आंसर की गलत है, ये है वो है. Then you have all the fancy ideas in the world. ठीक है, but that is not how UPSC works. Okay, so rarely, of course, there might be mistakes because humans are working everywhere. So, but you have to make sure that you don't do silly mistakes and then put the blame on someone else. Okay, वो मत करना. If there is any mistake in the paper na, anyway, everyone will get the marks. So please don't cry and crib about the mistakes of the paper. ठीक है. Just make sure कि अगर mistake है तो कोई बात नहीं, सबको मार्क्स मिलने वाले. यू आर नॉट द ओनली वन कि तुम्हारा पेपर अलग से प्रिंट करके दे दिया. ठीक है, कि तुम्हारी शक्ल अच्छी नहीं थी, सो दे जस्ट सॉ कि यार इसका एडमिट कार्ड निकालो, नंबर देखो, इसको अलग पेपर दो. दैट डजंट हैपन. ठीक है, इट्स द नेशनल लेवल एग्जाम. एवरीवन गेट्स द सेम क्वेश्चन पेपर एंड दिस इज अ ऑफलाइन एग्जाम. सो इट्स नॉट इवन लाइक कि उसका पेपर आसान था, मेरा मुश्किल था, उसका शिफ्ट में पेपर अच्छे थे. कुछ नहीं होता है. एवरीवन, एवरी डैम सिंगल ब्लडी पर्सन इज गोइंग टू गिव द सेम पेपर. ठीक है. सो there's no point or no need in crying and cribbing about the paper. Many people do this. Because the reason I'm telling you all this gyan in between questions is because this mindset is also very important. It's not just about solving. NDA maths, to be very honest, is very easy. तुम अगर जेई मेंस दोगे या किसी को एडवांस देने की इच्छा हो या कैपेबल भी हो एंड एलिजिबल हो, तो यू विल गेट टू नो कि यार एनडीए मैथ्स कितना आसान है. ठीक है. तो इट्स काइंड ऑफ अ गोल्डन अपॉर्चुनिटी यार. इतना मतलब ऑफिसर लेवल की एग्जाम है 12th के बाद एंड यू आर गेटिंग दिस पेपर. सो डोंट क्राई एंड क्रिप अबाउट कि पेपर ऐसा था वैसा था. पेपर सबके लिए सेम था. देयर आर 10 लाख 15 लाख स्टूडेंट्स हु आर गिविंग द सेम पेपर. तुम कोई स्पेशल नहीं हो. ठीक है. so and even if you clear it, still you are not that special because so many people are clearing in from so many years. तो नहीं भी हुआ या हुआ, जो भी हुआ, कोई ज्यादा ना बहुत ज्यादा खुशी मनानी है ना बहुत ज्यादा दुख मनाना है. एसएसबी है उसके बाद, दैट इज इम्पोर्टेंट. ठीक है. तो रिटर्न इज जस्ट द फर्स्ट स्टेप. उसमें ज्यादा स्ट्रेस नहीं लेना. चलो नेक्स्ट. So if A and B are two sets such that number of elements in A is 24, number of elements in B is 22, we can just draw a Venn diagram. जब भी ऐसा कुछ दिखे ना क्वेश्चन, तो Venn diagram कर लो. So A is 24, B is 22. Just make sure that you leave some space in such a way that you can see the intersection and everything. The number of elements in both A and B is 8. अब both का क्या मतलब है? Of course the intersection, the common part. Then what is n of A minus B plus n of B minus A? See, very easy. अब A minus B क्या है? A minus B is this part. ठीक है. यहाँ पे A minus B तुम्हारा खत्म हो जाएगा. ठीक है. And similarly B minus A क्या होगा फिर? B minus A होगा ये part. Now you have to just add the cardinality of both of them. So what will be A minus B? All the elements which are in A. So there are 24 elements in A, but not in B. ठीक है. तो not in B मतलब ये 22 थोड़े minus करना है. These 8 elements are not in B ना, because they are in A but not in B. We don't want the elements only and only not in B. We want them to be in A and then not in B. तो ये वाला फर्क समझो. ठीक है. It's not just कि something which is not in B. It is like something which is there in A but it is not in B. So these are A minus B. फिर B minus A, similarly it will be 22 minus 8. So just add these two. कितना हो जाएगा, ये 16 हो जाएगा, ये 14 हो जाएगा, 16 and 14 is 30, 30 is the answer. ठीक है, अगर किसी को कैलकुलेशन में दिक्कत है पहले इन दोनों को ऐड कर लो, 46 हो जाएगा, माइनस 16 कर लो, हो जाएगा. ठीक है, सी यार कैलकुलेशंस तो आई लीव इट अप टू यू, छोटे छोटे नंबर्स है तो इसको रोना नहीं होना चाहिए कि लंबा था वगैरह. The following Venn diagram shows games played by the number of students in a class. How many students like cricket and football only? अब only का क्या मतलब होता है, someone who might like cricket might like football also. तो only मतलब देखो फिर वो माइनस वाला कंसेप्ट आ गया ना. If I say how many elements are there in A only, तो A only मतलब A minus B, something which is there in A but not in B, तो वही हो गया ना A only. तो वही कंसेप्ट. ठीक है, नाउ लेट्स से क्रिकेट एंड फुटबॉल ओनली, तो मतलब ये क्रिकेट वाले लोग हैं, ये फुटबॉल है, तो क्रिकेट एंड भी लिखा है बीच में. ओके, सो हाउ मेनी स्टूडेंट्स लाइक क्रिकेट एंड फुटबॉल ओनली, so how many are there now? See, one more thing, if you see over here the intersection is given to be 16. So how is it possible that this entire set will have 7 numbers and out of these 7, 16 are over here? That is not possible, right? So obviously in this case what they have done is it is not like this. यहाँ पे ये जो 8 elements है they are already a part of 24. Generally we follow this, but the thing which they have given over here, this is entirely only and only intersection. ठीक है, this is not a part of the set. मतलब this is not like this 7 is not the entire number. So this is 16. This 4 means now only this 4. ठीक है, ये पूरा 4 नहीं है अभी, of course this is not 4 because 16 तो already इसमें है, so how can this be 4 ना? So this 4 is only for this part. So now they have said cricket and football only. So cricket and football only क्या है? So this entire thing is cricket and football, but this is also having people who like hockey. So cricket and football में क्या बच गया, ये वाला part, क्या ये नीचे वाला. So basically this is cricket and football and इतना वाला part हॉकी में चला गया, तो इसको काट दो, बचा हुआ ये part. ये वाला part कौन सा है? This 5. ठीक है, so चलो in this question तो there was no solving, it was all just the diagram. You had to just read the diagram carefully. In a class of 40 students, 20 have chosen maths, 50 have chosen maths but not bio. If every student has chosen either maths or bio or both, then the number of students who chose bio but not maths is what? तो ये question थोड़ा सा language का है. There are only two, you can say, diagrams, but they have played a lot with the language. तो set theory में वही है, थोड़ा सा language का ही खेल होता है. Solving and calculations are very easy in this topic, but then they will play a lot with the language and everything. So it says in a class of 40 students, 20 have chosen maths. ये maths है. 15 have chosen maths but not bio. मतलब अगर ये bio है, if this complete thing contains 20, then this only maths contains 15. What does that mean? That 5 are such people who have chosen maths and bio both. क्योंकि अगर ये पूरा सेट 20 है और सिर्फ इतना वाला पार्ट 15 है, बायो वाला, सॉरी ओनली मैथ्स वाला, that means this 5 is the common number, right? Now it says if every student has chosen either maths or bio, then number of students who chose bio but not maths is how much? So first of all, let's find out how many have chosen bio. So if there are 15 over here in maths only, if there are 5 over here, so how many are remaining over here? You can also do it through union wala example. ठीक है, total there are 40. And how can you ensure that all 40 of them are there? I mean, these two set contain the entire universal set. ये कैसे कर सकते हो? Because it is said that they have chosen either maths or bio. ठीक, एक ना एक सब्जेक्ट तो सबने लिया हुआ है. अगर ये नहीं गिवन होता, if this statement was not there, so you couldn't have predicted कि how many students are there. हो सकता है कि 40 बच्चों का क्लास है, 2 बच्चे हैं जिन्होंने कुछ भी नहीं लिया, तो you can't consider them anywhere. वो यहाँ पे कहीं बैठे होंगे यूनिवर्सल सेट. बट अभी ऐसा नहीं है, because everyone has chosen something. There is nothing out of these two circles. ठीक है, so now how can we do this? So basically there are 20 in maths, then some in bio, and then minus 5 should be 40, right? This is how we generally do ना. यही तो फॉर्मूला है कि n of a plus n of b minus the intersection is the total union. इसको Venn diagram से करोगे तो भी हो जाएगा. I am just doing it through the traditional way so that अगर किसी को नहीं समझा है तो वो आराम से देख सकता है, ठीक है. So what does B come from here? B comes out to be 25. But remember that this is entire bio. What they have asked is bio but not maths. तो not maths वाले ये 5 को माइनस कर दो. So they have asked B minus M. So B minus M will be 25 minus this intersection, which is 20. Okay. So see, the first option will be 25. The first option is biology. But what they have asked is bio but not maths. Okay. So now this question, in a survey of 140 students, just a second. Yeah. So in a survey of 140 students, 60 like video, 70 like to play indoor, 75 outdoor. ठीक है, चलो. So whenever we see such questions, na, the first thing is start with Venn diagrams. ठीक है? Because most of the times it's about the language. है ना? As I told you, कि इस क्या कहते हैं इस chapter में not about solving or anything. It's more about the you can say uh, language of the question. So 140 are there. मतलब the universal set is 140. 60 like to play video games. ठीक है? So this is video game 60. 70 like to play indoor games. Okay. Then there are 75 who like to play outdoor games. Sorry. Okay. Now it says 30 play indoor and outdoor. 18 like to play video and outdoor. Okay. So what is this? 30 play indoor and outdoor मतलब indoor outdoor मतलब this is 30. ठीक है, ये वाला part is 30. Then 18 like to play video and outdoor मतलब this वाला part. And then sorry, video and outdoor is this part. And then 42 play video and indoor. That means this part. This is 42. ठीक है. Then 8 play all type of games. यानी कि this is 8. This shaded portion in between over here is 8. The ones who are playing everything. So now there are students who play video and indoor but not outdoor. अच्छा, अब ये and पे ध्यान देना. So video games and indoor games. So video games and indoor games is not this circle and this circle. ठीक है? Sorry. Excuse me. So when we say video games and indoor games, it is this intersection. And मतलब क्या होता है कि they should play both of them. तो ये intersection वाला part हो गया. But not outdoor. Not outdoor मतलब ये जो common वाला part है ना जो outdoor में भी था. This you have to cancel out. तो basically बहुत simple है. पहले तो इनका intersection ढूंढो. उसमें से what you will subtract? You will subtract the 8 number of people who play all of the games. Basically the ones who play outdoor. So how will you find out this intersection? Very simple. Actually they have given only na video and indoor कितना दिया है 42 दिया है. So they have already given you the intersection. So basically it's simply that these people are 42. You just have to subtract the ones who are playing outdoor games. So 42 minus 8 is 34. As simple as that. So now in a survey it was found that 21 people read English, 26 Hindi, 29 regional, 14 read both English and Hindi, 15 read both, 12 read both. ठीक है. The number of people surveyed. Okay, chalo. This is a very straightforward question. You have to calculate the total number from the set of three people. Sorry, set of three sets. Sorry. So 21 read English, 26 read Hindi, and 29 read regional. Okay, so first things first. How will you calculate the total number? So first is you can just add all three. But what is the problem with adding all the three of them, English, Hindi, and regional? That there will be things which you will be adding twice. जैसे ये वाला जो set है, you will be adding it twice, right? So you will have to subtract it. So let's subtract Hindi. Sorry. Uh, so E intersection H has been added twice because E intersection H, yani this common part will be added in English as well as in Hindi. So you need to subtract this. Then you also need to subtract the one which is common to Hindi and regional because this also you are adding twice. Then you also have to subtract the one which is common to, here I am writing this T, and English and regional. So basically you have subtracted all the part that you have added twice. But now what is the problem? When you subtract this once, and this once, you are actually subtracting this 3 times. And when you had added these 3 set, you had added them 3 times. So ये जो common part है, you added it 3 times first because this common part is part of English, it's part of Hindi, it's part of regional. So you added it thrice. Then it is a part of this, it is a part of this, it is a part of this. So what happened? You added it thrice, you subtracted it thrice. So to balance out, you will have to add it again once so that it is coming out to be only once. So now just see the calculation, like see the numbers and do the calculation. सारे numbers दिए हुए है ना, they have given you everything. So 21 plus 26 plus 29, how much is it? ये पहले तीन numbers को add करोगे तो 21 29 is 50 and 26 is 76. ठीक है, so the first three numbers is 76 and minus English Hindi, so 14. Then you have Hindi regional कहाँ पे 15. So the ones who are good with oral calculations can directly do it. Ones who are not good, so please write everything and do it, because as I've told you, don't lose out on easy marks. If you lose out on easy marks, you will be at a double loss. एक लॉस तो तुम्हारा मार्क्स जाएगा, दूसरा लॉस सबका आंसर सही होगा, सिर्फ तुम ही गलत करोगे तो कंपटीशन में पीछे चले जाओगे. -12 who read both English and regional. Now 8 of them read all, so plus 8. ठीक है, so 14 and 15 is how much? You can just add these three and subtract all together. 14, 15, 29 and 12 is 41. So 76 minus 41 is 35 and 8 is 43. Okay, 43 will be the answer. So there exists a set without a proper subset. What is a proper subset? Proper subset is the set of all subsets without itself. So can there be a set without a proper subset? Of course there can be empty subset. ऐसा कोई सेट हो जिसका प्रॉपर सबसेट ही पॉसिबल नहीं हो. So like for example, if I take a set 1, 2, so there is a proper subset of this, na, because the subset will have 4 elements, and out of those 4 elements, if I just exclude the set itself, I will have 3 subsets which are part of proper subset. But what about an empty set? Empty set cannot have any proper subset, because there is only one subset of empty set, which is empty set itself. So we cannot have a subset of empty set without empty set. So getting my point, right? Now the second statement says every power set has all the subsets including the power subset and the set itself. Of course, this is the definition of power set itself. Okay. So which of the following are true? Both are true. Many people feel that first statement is vague, तो वो उसको गलत करके आता है, but actually both are true. ठीक है. Okay, so now we start with functions. Acha, by the way, sorry, I made a mistake in the beginning of this video. I said complex numbers and set theory. We also have functions in this. ठीक है, domain range भी है हमारा. So I think it is there in the thumbnail, but मैंने बोलते वक्त थोड़ी गलती कर दी थी. So sorry for that. But yeah, we also have functions in this. Video. Okay, चलो. So let's see it. So they have asked what is fx plus f of 1 by x. fx तो given है, तो fx पहले लिख लेते हैं. Now you just have to add f of 1 by x. What is f of 1 by x? You just have to put 1 by x in terms of x. तो अगर fx x cube minus this है, तो x की जगह 1 by x रख दो. तो x cube में x की जगह 1 by x रखोगे, you will get 1 by x cube minus of 1 by x की जगह 1 by x रखना है और इसका cube. तो 1 by x cube. What this will become? X cube minus 1 by x cube. This is simply 1 by x cube. This is minus x cube ना, because this 1 upon 1 by x तो ऊपर चला जाएगा, तो सब कुछ कट कुट के it is answer is 0. So what are such functions called as? अच्छा, by the way, this is not called anything, but if I instead of ये 1 by x की जगह अगर कुछ ऐसा होता, so maybe you must have seen such functions. Like if I substitute minus x in terms of x and I add both of them, so there are 3 possibilities. Either I will get 0, or I will get twice the function, or I will get some another function. Let's say f की जगह अब क्या g पकड़ लो, ठीक है, कुछ तो random ही अलग मिल जाएगा. So the conditions where you get fx plus f of minus x as 0 is what? Is it odd or even? So I think you must have heard about odd functions, even functions, na? And I hope that this fx f minus x is clear to you. Okay. So what happens is, if both of them are adding up to 0, that means these are called odd functions. ठीक है, इसका odd even वाले concept से कोई लेना देना नहीं है. ठीक है, this is just some terminologies of functions. So this is odd, these are called even function, and these are called neither odd nor even. ठीक है, मतलब so odd function का क्या example हो सकता है? Sin x can be an example, because if you add sin x and sin of minus x, you will get 0. ठीक है, so ये odd हो गया तुम्हारा. इवन का क्या एग्जांपल हो सकता है? cos x. sin के साथ tan भी हो सकता है. You can also have tan x as an odd function. Cos x and cos of minus x. So cos of minus x is simply cos x. So this becomes 2 cos x. So even function, there is one more property that for even function, fx is actually equal to f of minus x. That's why if you add both of them, so you get twice the function. Okay? And for odd functions, what is going to happen? They are negative of each other. Okay? So if you take fx and if you take f of minus x, you will have to put a minus sign in between. Okay? That's why when you add both of them, they give 0. Okay? So this is for odd function. Neither odd nor even, you can take anything. Like for example, if I take cos x plus sin x. So what is this function? If I write fx and if I write f of minus x, so that will become cos x minus sin x. Because cos x remains as it is, sin x negative हो जाता है. So there is no as such relation between these two. Now, if you just add these two, fx and f of minus x, what are you getting? 2 cos x. So you cannot directly comment on 2 cos x and this. Okay, so it's neither odd nor even. Yes, sometimes they might ask you this, or sometimes they will give you this as an information and then you will have to use it somewhere. Like for example, they will give you that fx is odd function, and then they will give you that f of 2 is minus 3. So what is f of minus 2? Okay, I mean, of course, it will not be this easy. The question will not be this easy, but somewhere along these lines. Okay, तो ऐसा कुछ आ सकता है. Okay, so let n of a is equal to m, let n of b is equal to n, then number of non-empty relations that can be defined from a to b. So again, what is this non-empty relations? Okay, so relation, what is relation? Relation is basically Cartesian product. You must be knowing that when we have some subsets and if we take the Cartesian product, we get relations. So how many relations are possible from a to b if a has m and b has n elements? There are 2 power mn relations possible if you have uh, m elements and n elements in 2 sets. I think this is something which you must be knowing, that what are the number of relations possible from set A to set B such that they have m and n elements. Okay? So there are 2 power mn you can say relations possible. But if you want non-empty relation, तो क्या करोगे? Just subtract 1 and this will be your answer. ठीक है? As simple as that. ये थोड़ा प्रॉपर सबसेट वाली जैसे बात हो गई है ना, कि यू डोंट हैव टू टेक समथिंग. तो उसमें हम सबसेट को ही, सॉरी, पूरे सेट को ही नेगेट करते थे. इसमें यू आर नेगेटिंग द नॉन एम्प्टी रिलेशन. सॉरी. So range of fx is x square plus 2. Like see यार, I mean such questions are also asked. कि x square plus 2 का क्या range होगा? Now everyone knows that x square is always greater than equal to 0. So x square plus 2 will be always greater than equal to 2. And what is range? Range is basically all the possible values of a function, sorry, possible outputs of a function. So x square plus 2 can never be less than 2. It will always be greater than equal to 2. So that means this is the answer, 2 to infinity. Just take care of the brackets. Okay? They will give you confusing brackets. जैसे C में open bracket है, C में closed है. So I hope you know, closed bracket means we need to include 2, है ना? And we will include 2 na, because x square can be 0, so x square plus 2 can be 2 also. Okay? What will be the domain of the functions fx for which the functions fx and gx are equal? Now see, this is just another way of asking the same question. Okay? It's like they are asking ki when is fx going to be equal to gx, but they are asking in a more different way. So what do you have to do? Just equate fx and gx and then just see what are the answers. So basically domain for which the functions are equal. What does it mean? Domain क्या होता है? All the possible inputs. So what they are asking is कि what are the possible inputs for which the outputs are equal? यानी basically तुम्हें input ही ढूंढना है ना. Basically you have to find the value of x for which the output is equal. So it's like saying that what is the domain of the function x square such that the output is 9. So basically you have to find the solution of x square equal to 9, है ना? तो वही बात है. So we'll just equate these two. Okay, and this becomes a quadratic equation, 2x square plus 3x minus 2 equals 0. So there are 2 ways. You can either solve this whole equation or you can check through the options. अब options check करने तो what you can do is put unique values. जैसे try to put 1. Is it getting satisfied? 2 plus 3 is 5 minus 2, not equal to 0. So this is wrong. then now try putting -1, है ना, simple values को try करो. So if I put -1, this will become 2, this will become -3, and this will become 2. Again not possible, तो ये भी गलत है. Now what will be the domain? Now see, domain means only those values which can satisfy. मतलब इसके कितने solutions होंगे? इसके 2 solutions होंगे. If you see the brackets used in this are closed brackets. So closed bracket means everything between 2 and 12. That is not possible. We know that this equation will have only 2 solutions. So if it is only 2 solutions, this is anyway not possible. This will be your answer. For safer side, you can just substitute and check. So अगर मैंने half put किया तो it will be 2 into 1.4, sorry 1/4 plus 3 into half minus 2. कितना हो जाएगा? 2/4 is nothing but half. Half plus 3/2 is 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. Okay, now we can also try with -2. If you put, it will be 2 into 4 8. 8 minus 2 6 plus 3 into -2. ठीक है, तो 6 minus 6 0. So B is the answer. ठीक है, so you can also be a little more creative and smart while you solve the equation. तो जब भी तुम्हारे पास equation आ जाए और equation का आंसर ही तुम्हारी ऑप्शंस है, तो you can directly put the values and check. और ऐसे वैल्यूज डालना जल्दी जो आसान हो, ठीक है, जो यूनिक हो. जैसे आई सॉ -2 ओवर हियर एंड -2 ओवर हियर आल्सो. तो अगर -2 सही होता तो इन दोनों में से कुछ भी हो सकता था. ठीक है, सो दैट्स व्हाई आई डिडंट पुट -2. आई पुट 1 जस्ट टू चेक कि अगर यहीं पे सही हो जाता तो यही आंसर हो जाता ना, बिकॉज 1 इज नॉट देयर एनीवेयर एल्स. ठीक है, सो ट्राई टू पुट यूनिक सब्स्टिट्यूशन सो दैट यू गेट द आंसर क्विकली. ठीक है, चलो. So domain of the function is what? Now you all know what is domain. Domain is all the possible inputs. Now whenever you have a fraction, the denominator cannot be equal to 0. You just have to find out for which values is this expression not equal to 0. Now you can just factorize this. ये तो बहुत ही basics था factorization है. X plus 1, x plus 2 not equal to 0. So that means x cannot be, so x plus 1 cannot be 0. That means x cannot be -1 and x cannot be -2. So all real numbers. So this is what set of real numbers. Minus मतलब you have to exclude. Set theory का ही है ना ये. So this set minus -1 and -2. So this will be the answer. ठीक है. तो देखो मैं गलती से B ऑप्शन देख रहा था, but then I saw that it is 1 and 2. We have to exclude -1 and -2. बहुत बार क्या होता है, we factorize like this ना, x plus 1 x plus 2. तो हमारा ध्यान 1 और 2 पे होता है and we tick this. But वैसा नहीं है ना. If x plus 1 is a factor, then x is equal to -1. So you exclude -1 and -2. That will be the answer. अच्छा, if you have any problem in factorization ना, so what you can do is find out the roots. Roots तो पता है formula से roots निकालो and just put the factorization like this: x minus alpha, x minus beta. But make sure that you write minus in between. X minus first root, x minus second root equal to 0. तो कोई भी तुम्हारे इक्वेशन होगी क्वाड्रेटिक, कुछ कुछ उसके रूट्स आ जाएंगे अल्फा बीटा. राइट दिस एज द फैक्टराइजेशन, दैट्स इट. एंड राइट माइनस इन बिटवीन, क्योंकि अगर x इज इक्वल टू अल्फा तो व्हाट विल बी 0? x माइनस अल्फा विल बी 0 ना. एंड सिमिलरली इफ x इज इक्वल टू बीटा व्हिच आर द रूट्स, x इज इक्वल टू अल्फा एंड बीटा विल बी द रूट्स. तो x माइनस बीटा 0 होगा ना, तो यहाँ पे प्लस मत लिखना. ओके, so if a equation has roots alpha and beta, then the factorization of that equation will be something like this. Okay, तो कभी अगर factorization की जरूरत पड़े और तुमसे ना हो रहा, लेकिन तुम्हें वो करना ही पड़ेगा किसी ना किसी रीजन से, तो ये जुगाड़ लगा सकते हो. One important, you can say, place where you can use this is while solving inequalities. Like for example, in the same question, if the question was like this. Now this also you can solve through roots. इसको तुम see, you need those solutions which are not getting 0 ना, तो तुम उनको उन numbers को ढूंढो which are becoming 0 and then you just exclude them. वही किया हमने basically. We just used factorization. You can also use the formula. Formula use करोगे तो इस equation को -1 -2 आंसर मिलेगा. You just include them. But what if you have something like this: x square plus 3x plus 2 greater than 0? Now you cannot do it using the roots. Now you need factorization only. ठीक है, बट अगर factorization शायद नहीं हो रहा तुमसे, let's say this equation is something difficult, तो क्या करना है, इसके पहले roots ढूंढो. roots क्या है इसके? -1 and -2. We know that the roots are -1 and -2. So how will you write this factorization? Use this, that x minus -1 into x minus -2. This is the factorization of this equation greater than 0. Now you can write it that x plus 1, x plus 2 is greater than 0. And now you know that whenever we have such inequality, what do? We make a number line. We plot those points where this is becoming 0, because whenever it becomes 0, it changes its sign. So जैसे ये -2 और -1 पे 0 होता है, तो -2 के पहले, -2 के बाद और -1 के पहले बाद में साइंस अलग होती है, ठीक है। So before -2 both of them are negative, so negative into negative will be positive. Between -2 and -1 this will be negative, this will become positive, so answer will be minus. And after -1 this expression will be positive, this will also be positive, so it will be plus. So greater than 0 chahiye to you take this and this. I think many of you must be knowing this, but just for your revision sake I told again. Now again this one, the domain and range of the real function f defined by f of x equal to this is what? So if you see this f of x is very easy, 4 minus x by x minus 4. These are just opposite of each other, you can just say -1. The only thing is that x minus 4 should not be 0, because if this is 0 then x itself is not in the domain. Okay, so domain and range पूछा है ना, तो range यानी all the possible outputs. The function itself is just -1, so -1 is the range. So if you see ये गलत है, सिर्फ यही सही है, ये भी गलत है. Okay, only the option C is correct, and luckily in option C domain is also given correct, because x minus 4 cannot be 0, so x cannot be 4. X can take any other value but not 4. Okay, so C is the answer. Okay. A relation is a subset of Cartesian products. Obviously that is what we have been seeing, you know. True. So see, such questions I have included only and only for your revision kind of a thing. Ki you should know that sometimes such things can also be asked. Now in the exam of course ये question तो नहीं आएगा क्योंकि true false के दो ही option है, but it can come as a statement based question, है ना. They will give you 3-4 statements and they will ask you ना कि which statement is true, which is not. So ऐसे question, ऐसे form में ये question आ सकता है. Okay, so let A be this, R be a relation from A to A, R is such that y is equal to x plus 1, and find the domain. Now what is domain? Domain is all the possible inputs. अब यहाँ पे input क्या है? X, ये output है ना y. Now A is 1 2 3 4 5 and A is from A to A. So now what all numbers can I put in the domain? Y is such that it is x plus 1. That means y अगर मैंने 5 लिया तो वो 4 plus 1 हो सकता है, लेकिन अगर मैंने y को 1 लिया तो वो 0 plus 1 हो सकता है क्या? It cannot be 0 plus 1. That means if I'm taking y as 1, I need to take x as 0. Okay, and x as 0 is not possible, right? So because here it is not given. Now if I take y as 2, then I can take x as 1. Okay, that is possible. Now if I take x as 5, so y क्या आएगा? Y equal to 5 plus 1. Now am I getting an output for 5, x equal to 5? I'm not getting any output for x equal to 5. That means 5 cannot be equal to x. If x is equal to 5, so y will become 6, and 6 is not available because x and y both are from set A. So because 6 is not possible, we cannot take x as 5. That means x can be anything from 0 to 4, but 0 is not in the set, so हम इसको भी exclude करेंगे. That means x can be anything from 1 to 4. So this is the answer. Okay. Now here they had asked you the codomain. Now what is codomain? Codomain is basically all the available values of the output. ठीक है, available मतलब क्या कि इस set में से तुम output ले सकते हो. I mean your relation is defined from a set to another set, so that another set is your codomain. So those values are available for the output. If those values come or not is a different thing. So in codomain you include everything. So if the set is from A to A, then this entire A is your codomain. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 5. Now they have asked you what is the range. So see, range is what? All the possible values of y. So you can take x as x is from 1 to 5, na? So y can be 1 plus 1 and so on till 5 plus 1. अब देखो 5 plus 1 हो सकता है क्या? y 1 plus 1 यानी 2. ठीक है, यहाँ पे अगर मैं 4 डालता हूँ x को तो y can be 5. So x can go from 1 till 5. But we already saw, वैसे तो हमने already देख चुका है कि x 5 नहीं ले सकता because y 6 नहीं ले सकता because 6 is not there. So y can take all the values from 2 to 5. So this will be your range. Okay, y cannot be 1 because if y has to be 1, that means 1 has to be x plus 1. That means x has to be 0. Now x 0 is not possible with x because it is starting from 1. So y cannot be 2. Okay, is relation from set A to B always equal to relation from set B to A? Of course not. ठीक है, this is a Cartesian product, and Cartesian product is not like if a relation is from A to B, then it can be from B to A. So of course it is false. If set A has, because relation is also an ordered pair. Now ordered pair जानते हो, ordered pair is something which has the fixed order. Like if, for example, if I'm writing x comma y, then this means this is the first element which is mapped to this second. मतलब input output. अब मैं output को input और input को output नहीं बना सकता ना, ठीक है? So this is an ordered pair. Is set an ordered thing? No. Set का कोई order नहीं होता. अगर मैं 1 2 3 लिखूं, या अगर मैं 2 3 1 लिखूं, या अगर मैं किसी दिन 3 1 2 लिखूं, all these are the same set A. These are not three different sets, but 1 comma 2 and 2 comma 1 are two different elements. ये दोनों अलग है. This is different because when we write it like this is ordered. तो ये input है, ये output है, ये input है, ये output है. यहाँ पे these are just elements of the set. So 1 2 3 2 3 1 doesn't matter. ठीक है? So set is not an ordered thing, but relation is ordered. Okay? Relation में input output होता है ना. There is an input which you map to some output. Set में ऐसा नहीं होता है. Set is just a collection of some entities ना. तो collection में कोई order नहीं होता है. ठीक है? Let's for example if you are collecting coins. ठीक है? Now if you collect coins and you put it in a box, you put it in your safe. So it's not like कि in the safe there is some, of course I mean you can arrange it in an order. जैसे हमने यहाँ पे अरेंज किया है 1 2 3 2 3 1, बट इस अरेंजमेंट से उन कॉइन्स के प्रॉपर्टीज को थोड़ी कुछ फर्क पड़ा है. दैट डजंट मीन एनीथिंग ना, बिकॉज दिस इज अ कलेक्शन. तो कलेक्शन को अरेंजमेंट और ऑर्डर से फर्क नहीं पड़ता, बट ऑर्डर्ड पेयर में इनपुट आउटपुट को तो फर्क पड़ता है ना, कि इनपुट का मैपिंग आउटपुट से हो. so this is mapping. So mapping is getting affected by the order, but collection does not get affected by the order. ठीक है? तो ये चीज का ध्यान रखना. So if set A has 2 elements, B has 4, how many relations are possible? We already saw it should be 2 power mn. So from set A to B, subsets कितने होंगे? See, subsets will be, how many will be the, अच्छा चलो, tell this in the comment section कि how many subsets are possible for A. वैसे तो मैंने already cover कर लिया ये पहले भी. For A and for B, and then tell me how many relations will be there. ठीक है? Also tell me how many proper subsets will be there for A and B. चलो relations कितने होते हैं? By the way we already saw 2 power mn, तो यानी कि 2 power 2 into 4 which is 2 power 8. 2 power 8 कितना होता है? 256. ठीक है? 128 is 2 power 7, 2 power 56 is, sorry, 2 power 8 is 256. So they have given you set A and set B, and R is a relation from A to B such that x comma y x comma y such that x is equal to y square. Find the domain of the relation. Domain यानी कि x की कौन सी values possible. Now x has to be from set A, that means 1 4 8 9, and y has to be from set B. So I can write 1 equal to 1 square, I can write 1 equal to minus 1 square. Enough. Then can I take 4? Yes, I can take 4 as 2 square. Then I can also take 4 as minus 2 square. Then can I take 8? I cannot take 8 क्योंकि 8 किसी का square है ही नहीं, है ना. If I take x as 8, then it cannot be some square of this number ना. So if x is equal to 8, then y is equal to root 8, which is not there in set B. So this is not possible. And if I take x as 9, then y, मतलब I can take 2 elements from set B. अच्छा, by the way, this is a relation, okay? In relation, it's not important that you have unique output. In relation, in function, you need to have an unique output. But in relation, it's not necessary to have a unique output. You can have multiple outputs. जैसे अगर मैं 1 को 1 के साथ मैप करूँ तो चलेगा, मैं 1 को -1 के साथ भी मैप कर सकता हूँ in this particular relation. Because x is y square. Now 1 is square of 1 and 1 is square of -1 also. ठीक है? That is possible. So by the way, coming back to this, x equal to 8 not possible. Then x equal to 9, this is again possible. So ये है और 9 है. So 1 4 9 is the possible values of x, yani which is the domain. So now they are asked what is the codomain. So as I have told, codomain is the entire set on which the mapping is happening. So यहाँ पे from set A to set B है. So your entire set B is the codomain. So set B मतलब ये पूरा जहाँ दिख जाए तो वहाँ पे सीधा टिक कर दो. ठीक है? तो 1 2 -1 -2 -3 3 5. तो देखो यहाँ पे थोड़ा ऑर्डर चेंज कर दिया उन्होंने. इन दोनों में देखो B एंड D में कंफ्यूज मत होना. B में 5 इंक्लूडेड नहीं है. ठीक है? बट हमें तो कोडोमेन चाहिए ना. वी डोंट वरी अबाउट द रेंज. रेंज नहीं पूछा है हमें, बिकॉज यू विल फील कि यार 5 का स्क्वायर तो यहाँ पे 25 है ही नहीं, सो व्हाई शुड आई कंसिडर 5? You have to consider 5 because you need to find the codomain. You don't have to find the range. So this will be the answer. Now see, now comes the tricky part. Range मतलब all those values which are possible for y. तो y को हम क्या क्या लिख सकते हैं? We can write 1 because we have square of 1. 2 का स्क्वायर है, -1 का स्क्वायर है, -2 का है, 3 का है, -3 का है, सबका है. 5 का स्क्वायर नहीं है. So can I take y as 5? Because if I take y as 5, x will become 25. Is this possible? This is not possible. That means 5 is not there in the range. ठीक है, तो ये नहीं होगा, ये होगा. ये क्या था हमारा? कोडोमेन था, है ना? So that's why I took the same question and uh, included all the three. I mean range, domain, codomain. पहले भी थोड़ी देर पहले भी हमने ऐसा एक किया था, ठीक है? So that's why I did the same. Did all these three things with the same question, can say question. ठीक है, चलो. Now fx is 2 power x. What is the range? Now this is very simple question. Again, they are simply asking what is the range of an exponential function. Now you know that exponential function cannot take any negative value. Okay, because if you have a positive value over here 2, so doesn't matter to whatever number you raise 2, you will never have negative value, because even if x is negative, let's say -3, so what this means? This means 1 by 2 power 3, which is 1 by 8. So exponential will never ever take negative value if the base is positive. Base यानी कि तुम्हारा 2 positive है. And this cannot be 0 also, because if you take this as 0, then x has to be really small. It has to tend to minus infinity. Now there is a reason why I am not writing x equal to minus infinity. Maybe I'll cover it if there is a need. But when x tends to minus infinity, 2 power x will tend to 0, but it will never become equal to 0. Okay, so 0 will also not be there. So basically your answer will be 0 to infinity. 0 will be on open bracket. Actually they should have given like this also. ये भी option देना चाहिए था, just to confuse you guys. Many people will tick this also, considering कि non negative होना चाहिए, तो many people will consider 0 also, but it's not like that. It is positive. There is a difference between positive and non negative. Positive मतलब ये जो हमने टिक किया, non negative मतलब this is non negative. Something which is non negative can be 0 also ना, so it's not necessary that something which is non negative will be positive, because positive is not 0. ठीक है, मतलब sorry, 0 is not positive, 0 is neutral. ठीक है, तो इन चीजों का ध्यान रखना है. These are very small things, but options can vary depending on these small things also. ठीक है, तो okay, so here again we have another question of domain. तो देखो domain में again what we have to do, we just have to see कि what are the possible inputs, है ना? So now see, first things first, we first need to see that if we have sine inverse, that means this entire thing is between -1 to 1 only, because sine inverse of anything which is more than 1 is not possible na? Sine inverse of 2 is not possible, because sine theta never gives you a value 2. So what is the domain of sine inverse? It is -1 to 1. Now because this is a root function, so -1 to 0 is also not possible. So basically only 0 to 1 values are possible. So अब बहुत सारे लोग इस पर क्रांति लाएंगे कमेंट सेक्शन में कि ऐसे कैसे रूट का वैल्यू तो नेगेटिव भी आता है वगैरह वगैरह. So I know all of that, but when you talk about a root function, so root function only and only gives you positive output. ठीक है, चलो I'll tell you why. ऐसा क्यों होता है? Very few people know this, but let's talk about root function. तो root function का तुमने ग्राफ देखा होगा. Let's say, चलो एग्जांपल ही ले लेते हैं ऐसे मान लो. ठीक है, let's say I have value as 1. तो what is the value of root 1? Now everyone will say कि 1 and -1, है ना? So if I take 1 and -1, that means this 1 and -1. If I take let's say this is 4, so what is the value of root of 4? It's 2 and -2. So what is the graph you are getting? Something ऐसा कुछ ग्राफ मिलेगा तुमको, और ये नीचे भी तुमको ऐसा कुछ मिलेगा, है ना? मतलब अभी मेरे पॉइंट्स एग्जैक्ट नहीं आ रहे, बट try to understand. So what is happening? For one input you are getting two outputs. For one input you are getting two outputs. Now is this the property of a function? No. A function will have only one output for a single input. तो एक इनपुट तुम्हारा दो आउटपुट से मैप नहीं कर सकते, इसीलिए we don't consider the negative values in root function. So whenever we talk about a root function, we always take only and only the पॉजिटिव वैल्यूज, ठीक है. सो रूट एक्स माइनस वन विल बी बिटवीन 0 to 1. तो x माइनस वन किसके बीच में होगा? इफ रूट ऑफ समथिंग इज बिटवीन 0 to 1, तो x माइनस वन विल ऑल्सो बी बिटवीन 0 to 1. वैसे इसको डायरेक्टली स्क्वायर नहीं कर रहे हैं हम, ठीक है, ध्यान रखना. इफ x माइनस वन इज बिटवीन रूट ऑफ समथिंग इज बिटवीन 0 to √2, देन x माइनस वन विल बी फ्रॉम 0 to 2, ठीक है. तो ये चीज ध्यान रखना कि यू नो वी आर नॉट डायरेक्टली टेकिंग द रूट ऑफ इट, ठीक है. तो आई थिंक दिस विल बी मोर क्लियर व्हेन यू अंडरस्टैंड फॉर नेगेटिव वैल्यूज. जैसे इफ आई एम सेइंग दैट रूट ऑफ x इज बिटवीन 1 to 2, तो x किसके बीच में होगा? ये बताना मुझे एक बार कमेंट सेक्शन में, ठीक है. एंड टेल मी वाइस वर्सा आल्सो. इफ आई एम सेइंग दैट रूट x is between 1 to 2, so what will be the domain of, or possible values of x? And if I am saying that x square is between 1 to 2, then also tell me कि x किसके बीच में होगा, ठीक है. चलो, for this question x minus 1 will be between 0 to 1, ठीक है. I've already told you why we are not taking the negative values, ठीक है. That means x will be between, अब दोनों साइड +1 करना है, तो ये x हो जाएगा, इसमें क्या हो जाएगा 1 to 2, ठीक है. So 1 to 2 will be the answer. Now amplitude of, अच्छा चलो, now this is very interesting, amplitude and modulus. So let's consider any random complex number z equal to x plus iy. So the modulus of z is, as you all know, just the root of x square plus y square. What is the amplitude of z? Amplitude of z is tan inverse of y by x if theta is in first quadrant. And this amplitude varies as per the quadrant, ठीक है. तो कैसे वेरी करता है, let's understand that, ठीक है. Let's say you have these things. अब complex number can also be visualized like a vector or a point. So like for example z is x plus iy ना. So this is your real plane, this is your imaginary plane, ठीक है. तो अगर मैं यहाँ पे x और यहाँ पे मैं I का ये लेता हूँ, let's say component, or you can say the imaginary plane. So what happens is, let's say it is 2 plus 3i, just for example. So ये 2 है, ये 3 है. So this will be 2 plus 3i if you write it in complex form. If you write it in Cartesian coordinates, then it will be 2, 3 also. ठीक है. तो यहाँ से origin से ये जो वेक्टर है, इस वेक्टर का पॉजिटिव x एक्सिस से जो थीटा होगा, that is nothing but the amplitude. Now if this vector is in the fourth quadrant, then the theta will be from the positive direction in the reverse order. That means this becomes minus theta. तो ये चीज का ध्यान रखना. ये कौन सा पॉइंट है? 2, -3. So when you are in the fourth quadrant, which is something like 2 - 3i, so you are getting theta as negative, ठीक है. तो theta तुम कैसे ढूंढोगे? यहाँ से, ठीक है. That's why I have written that if theta is in first quadrant, ठीक है. So it will be minus theta. तो एम्पलीट्यूड ऑफ z के लिए क्या करोगे? पहले थीटा ढूंढोगे, फिर इफ इट इज इन फर्स्ट क्वाड्रेंट देन आंसर इज डायरेक्टली थीटा. इफ थीटा इज इन फोर्थ क्वाड्रेंट दैट इट विल बी minus theta. Now let's see for second and third. So let's say your point is somewhere over here. So what you will do, you will go from here till here. तो या मतलब क्या कर रहे हो, ऐसा ऐसा समझो कि तुम यहाँ से पूरा यहाँ तक आ गए. लाइक फ्रॉम हियर यू वेंट टिल पाई, ठीक है. यू वेंट टिल पाई एंड देन यू केम बैक some distance above. So that means you went till pi and then you came theta above. So this is pi minus theta in the second quadrant. Okay. Now in the third quadrant, it is just opposite, that you went till pi in the negative direction and then you came back. So let's say you are somewhere over here. Right? So that means you went in negative pi direction and then you came back theta. So minus pi plus theta, or you can also say theta minus pi. So theta minus pi in the third quadrant. And how to decide the quadrant? That is the easiest part. First quadrant is x and y both positive. This is first quadrant. Second quadrant is, देखो, x is negative because you are going here and then here, na? So x negative, y positive. Third quadrant, x is negative, y is also negative. And fourth quadrant, x is positive, y is negative. Now let's look at this question. This is minus I. Minus I मतलब 0 minus I. So x is 0, y is negative. अब देखना, if x is 0 and y is negative, so should we take, so this is y is negative. Okay. So which quadrant should we take? We should take the third quadrant. Okay, now what is the theta? First of all, theta is tan inverse of mod y by x. What is y? Y is simply 1 because this is 0 plus minus 1 I na. So y is minus 1 and x is 0. Yani this is theta कितना हो जाएगा? Tan inverse of infinity, which is pi by 2. So can I directly write pi by 2? No, because I also have to look at the quadrant. Quadrant कौन सा है? तीसरा. ठीक है. So in third quadrant, what is the answer? The answer should be theta minus pi, which is pi by 2 minus pi. Theta is this, na? Which is pi by 2 minus pi is minus pi by 2. So your answer is minus pi by 2. Okay. And always remember that our answer will go from minus pi to pi. If you haven't understood this, so just to summarize, I'll tell you. First step is you find out the theta using this tan inverse of mod y by x. Don't worry about the positive, negative, anything. Like for example, if I have to give this example, 1 minus root 3i. Let's find the amplitude of this. ठीक है, तो सबसे पहले थीटा क्या आएगा? tan inverse mod of root 3 by 1. ठीक है, मैंने minus root 3 है, doesn't matter, mod लेना है ना. So tan inverse of root 3. What? How much is it? Pi by, sorry, not pi by 6. It will be pi by 3. Root 3 कब होता है? 60 डिग्री पे ना. So tan inverse of root 3 will be pi by 3. Now we need to see the quadrant. So x is positive, y is negative. X positive, y negative. कौन सा quadrant है? It will be second quadrant. Okay, sorry, not second. It will be fourth quadrant. That x is positive and y is negative. Now in the fourth quadrant, what should be the answer? Minus theta. That means the amplitude is minus pi by 3. So this will be the amplitude of this complex number. ठीक है. So the first step is find out theta. Second step is find out the quadrant. According to the quadrant, use this table. और ये टेबल भी आसान है. इसको कैसे याद रखना है? First quadrant is simply you are going in the anti-clockwise direction. अच्छा, by the way, whenever we measure angles, anti-clockwise direction is the positive direction. ठीक है, clockwise is the negative direction. तो हमेशा याद रखना, if I am measuring angles, first things first, it is measured from the horizontal axis. Positive horizontal axis. Positive horizontal मतलब x axis ना. इस यहाँ से measure करना शुरू करना होता है हमेशा. कैसे? anti-clockwise direction is positive. Okay, so always remember this. Anti-clockwise direction is positive. That's why if you want to go to the fourth quadrant, you go in clockwise direction, which is negative. Okay, in the second and third quadrant, I have told you, first you reach till pi and then you come above in the negative direction. That's why this much is pi, this much is minus theta. So together this is pi minus theta. Okay, in the third quadrant, what is happening? You are going in negative pi direction first and then you are coming back to your vector. जैसे मान लो यहाँ पे तुम्हारा वेक्टर है. First you go entirely negative pi and then you come back to here. So minus pi plus theta. This is nothing but theta minus pi also. Okay, so you can remember it like this. So theta minus theta, pi minus theta or theta minus pi. It's very easy actually. And quadrant निकालना तो बच्चों का खेल है ना. You just have to see which is positive, which is negative. ठीक है, that so you can very easily do. चलो, now again, so see यार, ये तो they have just directly asked the question that what will be the quadrant. I mean, if it is in third quadrant, so what will be the amplitude? Third quadrant में क्या होता था? याद है? थीटा माइनस पाई है ना. रिमेंबर, सी थीटा माइनस पाई था, इसको तुम माइनस पाई प्लस थीटा भी लिख सकते हो. और थीटा क्या था? tan इनवर्स mod of b by a. मतलब we had written y by x, nothing but tan inverse b by a. So what was it? ये हमारा थीटा था, तो थीटा माइनस पाई, दिस शुड बी द आंसर. मतलब माइनस पाई प्लस दिस, तो ये होगा. ठीक है, ये कौन सा क्वाड्रेंट का आंसर है? ये फर्स्ट क्वाड्रेंट का आंसर है. ये कौन सा क्वाड्रेंट? ये तो कुछ आंसर ही नहीं है. पाई बाय 2 ये भी किसी का आंसर. ठीक है, पाई बाय 2 प्लस थीटा इज नॉट एन आंसर. अगर यहाँ पे पाई बाय 2 वैसे तुम्हारे एडिशन सब्ट्रैक्शन में पाई 2 पाई आता भी नहीं है. ठीक है, सो दीज ऑप्शंस यू कैन एनीवे एलिमिनेट अगर डाउट भी था. ठीक है, देन यू कैन सी दिस इज तो एकदम सिंपल प्लेन सा फॉर्मूला है, यानी कि फर्स्ट क्वाड्रेंट का होगा. तो अगर एग्जाम में नहीं भी याद है तो अगर ये तुक्का भी लगाते तो फिर भी आंसर आता. So domain of sin inverse 4x. This is similar to the question which we did before. So basically it's very simple. 4x should be between minus 1 to 1. Now what you have to do, just divide by 4 and it will be, it's this simple here. I mean, see, domain पूछा है तुम्हें. Range क्या होगा? By the way, range will be the same because changing your values in this way is not going to change your range. क्योंकि क्या होगा? when you are changing only one axis, like x को 4x कर दिया, so basically your um, inputs or the values of the inputs will either shrink or expand depending on what is the coefficient. जैसे 4x से multiply करो या 1/4x से, तो उस पर डिपेंड करेगा, बट रेंज इज नॉट गोइंग टू एनीवे चेंज. तो अगर इसमें रेंज पूछते तो रेंज तुम्हारा वही आता जो इनवर्स का रेंज आता है हमेशा. ठीक है, मुझे कमेंट सेक्शन में बताना कि इसका रेंज क्या होगा इस क्वेश्चन का. ठीक है, ऑफ द सेम क्वेश्चन व्हाट विल बी द रेंज. डोमेन तो यार, बट सी दिस इज PYQ, दैट्स व्हाई आई एम सेइंग कि इजी टॉपिक्स को भी छोड़ना नहीं है. ठीक है, डोमेन रेंज मतलब बहुत ही आसान सा टॉपिक है डोमेन रेंज. अगेन डोमेन एंड रेंज ऑफ द फंक्शन. ठीक है, so what is the domain now? So see, this is a modulus function, and one more thing, this is a linear function. Linear function में there is no restriction on x. You can put whatever x as you want. This can be all the real numbers. So domain तो चलो real है. यहाँ पे लिखा है r plus. That means they are saying that domain should be only positive real numbers. Why? Negative ने क्या खराब किया? अगर मैं x को -2 डालूं तो आंसर आएगा ना. दिक्कत क्या है? तो इसको एलिमिनेट कर दो वैसे भी. ठीक है, so this or this both are possible. Now let's look at the range. So what will be the range? So see, doesn't matter what is there inside the mod, we know that it should be greater than equal to 0, है ना. as simple as that. x minus 5 की जगह 15 होता, 150 होता, 1500 होता, या 15 power 1000 होता, कुछ भी होता, doesn't matter, it will always be more than equal to 0, because we need the range. we need to know कि इसका आउटपुट क्या होगा. तो भाई मॉड के अंदर जो भी है उसका आउटपुट greater than equal to 0 होगा, है ना. then when you take the negative of this, then it will be exactly the reverse, less than equal to 0. then you add 2 to both the sides, plus 2 plus 2. यहाँ पे plus 2 करने से, why am I going from this step to this step? Because we need a minus sign in front of mod. ठीक है, so just add plus 2 to both the sides, so 2 minus mod of this will be less than equal to 2. so basically less than equal to 2 यानी range क्या हो गया, minus infinity to 2, and you will include 2 because equal to भी है ना. so minus infinity to 2, this will be the answer. ठीक है, see here they have not included 2, but you will include 2 ना, because mod can be 0, the value of this mod can be 0, so 2 minus 0, 2 is a possibility in the answer. ठीक है, and more than one of the above, इस तो ऑप्शन का कोई लॉजिक ही नहीं बनता. there cannot be 2 domains or 2 ranges ना. all of these options are wrong, sorry, all of these options are different, so how can there be 2 options which are correct? तो ये तो अगर एग्जाम में ऐसा कुछ आ जाता है तो, I mean I have taken this from a website, I don't remember which website, but it was PYQ. तो उन्होंने ये ऑप्शन दिया था. अब इसका तो कोई सेंस ही नहीं बनता. I mean how can there be 2 domains or 2 ranges? but चलो anyway, if z is a complex number, then this is what, again these type of questions are very common in NDA, and if you are not able to do this तो मैं क्या ही बोलूँ यार. मतलब एक छोटा सा ऐसे वो बोलते हैं ना, क्या बोलते हो, चुल्लू भर पानी में डूब के मर जाओ टाइप, वही है यार. बिकॉज सी दीज क्वेश्चंस आर वेरी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड एंड दीज हैव अ फिक्स्ड अप्रोच. कुछ और करना ही नहीं है, जस्ट अज्यूम z एज x plus iy एंड ट्राई टू सिंप्लीफाई. बस इतना ही करना है और कुछ नहीं करना है. so if z is x plus iy, what is z bar? z bar is the conjugate मतलब negate the imaginary part, that's it. keep the real part as it is, negate the imaginary part. okay, now if you subtract z minus z bar, कितना हो जाएगा ये, z minus z bar divided by 2i. just try to simplify this, you will get the answer. ठीक है, you have to assume that z is some x plus iy. you don't know what is x what is y because that is unknown, but you just assume z as this and solve. कोई भी ऐसा क्वेश्चन दिखे जो z की किसी इक्वेशन पे हो, just do this. any question which is on equation of z, just try it out. 99% of the times you will find the answer. ठीक है, and so let's try this. so z minus z bar क्या होगा, x x कट जाएगा, iy minus of minus iy, so this will become 2 times iy divided by 2i. तो अब पता चला ये 2i क्यों था नीचे, it will be y. so what is now y is it purely imaginary? now many people will take this as the answer because they will say कि this is the real part, this is the imaginary part, है ना. so if z is x plus iy, अब ये चीज ना अगला 30 सेकंड या 1 मिनट बहुत ध्यान से सुनना. ठीक है, तो x is the real part and y is the imaginary part. ठीक है, ये पार्ट वाला जो वर्ड है ना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. एंड iy is the imaginary number. ठीक है, तो व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन y एंड IY? y अपने आप में इमेजिनरी पार्ट है, बट वो एक्चुअल में रियल नंबर ही है। इमेजिनरी पार्ट विच इज एक्चुअली अ रियल नंबर। मतलब क्या? लाइक इफ माय कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर इज 2 प्लस 3i, तो ये 3y की वैल्यू है ना, तो 3 खुद थोड़ी कॉम्प्लेक्स है, सॉरी, खुद थोड़ी इमेजिनरी है। कॉम्प्लेक्स तो सब कुछ है, इवन रियल नंबर इज कॉम्प्लेक्स बिकॉज कॉम्प्लेक्स इज समथिंग ऑफ दिस फॉर्मेट। अब ये भी बहुत लोगों को डाउट होता है, मैनी पीपल से कि सर ये तो कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर नहीं है। अबे गधो, कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर इज a प्लस आई बी ना। तो b अगर 0 हो गया तो तुम इसको 2 प्लस 0i तो लिख ही सकते हो। तो एवरीथिंग कम्स अंडर कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर्स। रियल नंबर्स आर आल्सो अंडर कॉम्प्लेक्स। तो कॉम्प्लेक्स में ऐसा चार्ट बनता है, रियल एंड समथिंग विच इज इमेजिनरी, ठीक है। तो फिर रियल में तुम्हारा नेचुरल, होल, इंटीजर, नॉन इंटीजर, रैशनल, इरेशनल, फ्रैक्शन जो भी तुम्हारा है, ठीक है, सब कुछ, ठीक है। बट कॉम्प्लेक्स के अंदर ही आता है सब कुछ। एंड व्हाट इज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ रियल नंबर्स? इमेजिनरी पार्ट इज जीरो। तो बेसिकली y इज जीरो, बट y इज इटसेल्फ अ रियल नंबर, ठीक है, इट्स द इमेजिनरी पार्ट। बट आई वाई जब मैं लिखूंगा तो इट विल बी अ इमेजिनरी नंबर। ओके, so if I'm getting only y as the answer, that means I'm getting purely real number। गेटिंग माई पॉइंट? क्योंकि आई कैंसल आउट हो रहा है ना। अगर नीचे सिर्फ 2 होता ना, अगर ऐसा आता आंसर हमारा 2i y अपॉन 2, तो हमारा आंसर क्या आता? आई वाई। नाउ इट वुड हैव बीन प्योरली इमेजिनरी। बट यहाँ पे प्योरली इमेजिनरी टिक मत करना, क्योंकि y अपने आप में रियल नंबर है, बट उसको जब हम i के साथ लगाते हैं तब वो एक इमेजिनरी नंबर बनता है। और बिकॉज y हमें पता है कि i के साथ लगने वाला है, वी नो दैट y इज गोइंग टू गेट एसोसिएटेड विथ i, दैट्स व्हाई वी कॉल इट अ इमेजिनरी पार्ट। ठीक है, तो व्हाट इज द इमेजिनरी पार्ट ऑफ दिस कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर? कहा गया वो, हाँ ये, व्हाट इज द इमेजिनरी पार्ट ऑफ दिस? द इमेजिनरी पार्ट इज 3। ओके, बट that imaginary part itself is a real number. What is making this imaginary is this I। okay, तो this please remember this thing, बहुत ही बेसिक सी चीज है, 11th स्टैंडर्ड भी नहीं, थर्ड स्टैंडर्ड के बच्चों को भी बताया तो समझ में आ जाएगा, बट पीपल ऑफ 11th एंड 12th स्टैंडर्ड डू नॉट अंडरस्टैंड दिस, आई डोंट नो व्हाई। फाइंड द रेंज ऑफ दिस रियल फंक्शन। चलो, नाउ अगेन रेंज ऑफ L1 by L2 टाइप्स। L1 by L2 मतलब लीनियर बाय लीनियर, L मतलब लीनियर ना, तो लीनियर बाय लीनियर का कैसे करना है रेंज? नाउ दिस एंटायर थिंग इज इन टर्म्स ऑफ y, वी विल डू इट इन टर्म्स ऑफ x, ठीक है। तो डोमेन तो इट्स वेरी इजी, I can just say that x minus 3 should not be 0। Domain is what? All the possible values of x na, so x minus 3 cannot be 0, that means x cannot be 3, this is the domain। Now what if I get a similar equation in terms of y also? जैसे ये पूरा पूरा x के टर्म्स में है ना, वैसे ही अगर मैंने x को y के टर्म्स में लिखा, then I can say that what value of y is not possible। So let's try to write this equation in terms of y। Okay, so y x minus 3y equals x plus 1। So I am just cross multiplying it, या इस यहाँ पे multiply कर दिया। So now because we need everything in terms of y, so let's separate the variables, है ना, यहाँ पे सब कुछ x का लेके आते हैं। So y x minus x equals 3y plus 1। Now let's take x common and then we'll divide। x common लिया, यहाँ पे क्या बचेगा? y minus 1 equals 3y plus 1। That means x is equal to 3y plus 1 divided by y minus 1। So what we have done, we have written this entire function in terms of y now। मतलब basically we have written the f inverse of basically f inverse function, ठीक है। So what does this mean? That in this expression the denominator cannot be 0, that means y minus 1 cannot be 0, that means y cannot be equal to 1। और y क्या है? y ही तो सारे possible values of, sorry, range ही तो सारी possible values of y है ना। So this is nothing but your range। The condition of y is itself your range, so that means your range is everything except 1, यानी कि ये, ठीक है। This is the answer। So anywhere and everywhere where you see thing of this part na, linear upon linear, so you can use this method। okay, find the conjugate of 1 upon 2 minus 3। अच्छा, अब इसमें दो तरीके हैं, first you take rationalization and then you find the conjugate, or you first take the conjugate and then you rationalize, it's up to you, it doesn't matter। Conjugate is that number where you just substitute I with minus I everywhere and that's it, बस, और कुछ नहीं करना है। तो अगर तुमने पहले rationalize कर दिया, तो what you will do is you will multiply this with 2 plus 3i on both sides and then you will simplify na, so it will become 2 plus 3i divided by, this will become a square minus b square, so a square minus b square। okay, so answer will be 2 plus 3i divided by, now I square is -1, so 4 plus 9 is 13. ठीक है, so your answer is, कोई भी मैच नहीं कर रहा, how is this possible? Okay, did I solve anything wrong? Just let me check. Acha, so they have asked the conjugate. Now I have just rationalized till now. So what will be the conjugate then? The conjugate will be 2 minus 3i by 13. ठीक है, कहाँ पे गया ये ऑप्शन? अगर मैं उल्टा करता, पहले conjugate ले लेता तो if I take the conjugate of this first, then the conjugate itself is 2 plus 3i, and now I will rationalize. ठीक है, first I take the conjugate and then I will rationalize. Rationalize करने के लिए I will just multiply with 2 minus 3i both sides. So you see 2 minus 3i, नीचे तो वही आएगा वापस 4 minus 9i square 13. So you see you get the same answer. So it doesn't matter if you rationalize first or you take the conjugate. In fact, in conjugate it doesn't matter what the expression is. अगर expression ऐसा कुछ है x plus iy divided by a plus ib, then the conjugate is directly x minus iy divided by a minus ib. It doesn't matter how you are going to simplify or solve this expression. You directly substitute I with minus I, but just remember that everywhere you have to do it. यहाँ पे भी करना है, यहाँ पे भी करना है, ठीक है? You will directly get the conjugate. Okay. So whatever you simplify for this and whatever you simplify for this, they will be conjugates of each other. Okay. So just remember this. So find the value of, okay, now again this question is again asked a lot of time. So you all know that I power 1 is I square is what? I into I, which is -1, because I is nothing but root over -1. Then I cube is what? I cube can be I square into I, so I square is -1, so -1 into I is minus I, and I power 4 is 1. Then I power 5 becomes 1 into I power 4, which is again I. So basically the cycle of I will repeat after every 4 numbers. Okay. So and you can ignore the minus sign also. I mean for repetition. ठीक है, ignore the minus sign मतलब ये मत कर देना कि इसको तुम ऐसा समझो. That is not what I am saying. I am saying that you can either subtract 4 powers or add 4 powers and then get the value. जैसे for example, if I want to find I power 7, so this will be same as I power 3, which is nothing but minus I. If I need to find I power -7, so now there is no point in subtracting the power anymore. You can just keep on adding 4 powers to it till you get the answer. So I power -3 is I power I power -7 is I power -3. Add 4 to the power again, you will get I power 1, which is I. Okay, so you can do this also, but of course, if the numbers are very big, then you cannot do this. Agar if I ask you what is I power -97, तो कब तक करते बैठोगे? So what you can do is you can instead add the multiples of 4 directly. I power 97 है ना? Directly add 100, because adding 100 means adding 4 25 times ना? This is nothing but I cube directly. ठीक है? So you can do this. So again -10 से नजदीक क्या है? 12 है. So this is -10 plus 12, which is I square, and then you need to find I power 15. So uh, one method is also that if you just divide the powers by 4, whatever is the remainder, you can simply take that. But be very careful in terms of minus. ठीक है, माइनस में इट्स ऑलवेज बेटर दैट यू टेक द मल्टीपल एंड ऐड इट, क्योंकि तुम माइनस का डिवीजन का रिमाइंडर लेने में कंफ्यूज हो सकते हो. ठीक है, so I power 15, if you divide 15 by 4, what is the remainder? It's just 3, because 12 plus 3 na. So this is I cube, this is nothing but minus I, this is -1. So the answer will be -1 minus I. Okay. Okay. So there will be a lot of questions which will come on this concept. Okay, let's do this. So what is the modulus of complex number? Again, mod of z1 by z2 is also equal to mod z1 by mod z2. You don't need to simplify z1 by z2. You can directly take the mod. So you can see this is what? Cos 2 theta I sin 2 theta, cos 2 theta I sin 2 theta. Beach ka minus doesn't matter for mod, na? So what is the mod of this? It's simply root over cos square 2 theta plus sin square 2 theta. ठीक है, which is nothing but 1. और नीचे क्या होगा? It will be again cos square 2 theta plus sin square 2 theta, which is 1. So 1 by 1 is 1. ठीक है. So again, this is a previous year question. मुझे question से ज़्यादा important ये चीज़ बतानी थी कि this is something which you need to know. तो exam में तुम्हें शायद ये नहीं पूछेंगे अभी, because the level is increasing a little. So maybe they will ask you that what is the modulus of this. Now some you can say some clever people will first simplify this. They will maybe rationalize this. पता नहीं कुछ करेंगे और फिर ढूंढेंगे. ठीक है, इसका mod कुछ जरूरत नहीं है. Just take the mod separately and divide them. The mod of this is same as the, so division of mod is same as mod of division. ठीक है, in terms of division of complex numbers. ठीक है। तो अगर मैंने इनको अलग से निकाल लिया, सो दिस इज व्हाट रूट ओवर 4+9 एंड दिस इज रूट ओवर 3+25। आंसर बहुत ही गंदा गंदा सा है, बट ठीक है जो भी है। 13/41 है ना, 13/41 ठीक है। बट अब तुम देखो, तुम खुद ही सोचो, अगर इतना गंदा आंसर आ रहा है, यानी कि इसको सिंप्लीफाई करने पे कितना गंदा नंबर आएगा, और फिर उस नंबर का रैशनलाइजेशन इतना गंदा आएगा। If you don't know this very basic property, you will falter in the exam. ठीक है, so that's why sometimes the questions are not lengthy. It's just that you are maybe not knowing the entire concept. ठीक है, अब मैं और ज्यादा अच्छे शब्द यूज नहीं करना चाहता, वरना वैसे तो ऐसी गलतियों के लिए और भी अच्छे अच्छे शब्द है, बट ऑफ कोर्स यू कैन assume any good or bad words which you are coming in your mind right now. चलो नेक्स्ट। अगेन एज आई टोल्ड यू, कोई भी ऐसा क्वेश्चन आता है z के बारे में, इक्वेशन के बारे में, तो व्हाट इज योर टास्क, जस्ट अज्यूम z एज x प्लस आई वाई एंड सॉल्व इट। यहाँ पे तो उन्होंने और तुम्हारा खातिरदारी की है, themselves given you. तो फाइंड द मॉड्यूलस ऑफ z z बार, z यानी कि x प्लस आई वाई, z बार यानी कि x माइनस आई वाई। नाउ यू हैव टू फाइंड द मॉड्यूलस ऑफ दिस। फर्स्ट यू कैन जस्ट सिंप्लीफाई, व्हाट विल दिस बी, दिस इज a प्लस b a माइनस b ना, x स्क्वायर माइनस आई स्क्वायर वाई स्क्वायर। कितना है ये, आई स्क्वायर इज -1, so this is x square plus y square. So now this, in fact, this is just a real number. यहाँ पे i कहीं दिख ही नहीं रहा है, this is actually a real number. So now they are saying कि where find the modulus of this. अब इसका मॉड्यूलस क्या है, रियल नंबर का मॉड्यूलस वो खुद होता है, because if I write something like a plus 0i, then what is the mod of this, it's simply a, because there is no i only, है ना। तो बेसिकली इसका ऐसे कायदे से देखा जाए तो ऐसा लिखना चाहिए, a square plus 0 nothing but a only. So basically real numbers are mod of themselves, so x square plus y square is directly the answer. ठीक है। Again, the purpose of this question was not the solving calculation part, it was just कि एक तो ये था that I wanted you to know, wherever you see a plus b a minus b, you have to use a square minus b square. Sorry, ठीक है। Most of the times where you see a cube minus b cube, you will have to use this identity a minus b to a square plus ab plus b square. याद रखने का तरीका भी बता दूंगा, don't worry, first just see that these are some identities which are used like a million times at least. ठीक है, अगर कुछ और आगे जाकर ऐसा कुछ दिखता है, तो यू कैन राइट इट एज ए स्क्वायर माइनस बी स्क्वायर इंटू ए स्क्वायर प्लस बी स्क्वायर। अब इसको तो तुम आगे सिंप्लीफाई नहीं कर सकते, बट इसको तुम और भी आगे सिंप्लीफाई कर सकते हो, ठीक है, बट दिस इज एनीवे नॉट नीडेड अ लॉट, बट दीज थ्री आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, ठीक है, ये बहुत जगह पे यूज होता है, एंड दिस मोस्ट ऑफ यू रिमेंबर बिकॉज ऑफ रैशनलाइजेशन एंड ऑल। ये दो चीजें लोगों को याद नहीं रहती, क्या करना है, सी सिंपल है, whatever is the sign on cube ना, just give that sign to the first bracket. जैसे if it is a cube minus b cube, write a minus b. If it is a cube plus b cube, write a plus b. ठीक है, एंड जो भी यहाँ पर साइन है उसकी अपोजिट साइन प्रोडक्ट में लिख दो। so if there is a minus in between here, ab will be plus, बाकी चीजें हमेशा प्लस रहती है। तो कैसे याद रखना है, ऐसे याद रखो कि स्क्वायर्स आर ऑलवेज पॉजिटिव ना, तो ए स्क्वायर और बी स्क्वायर के कोएफिशिएंट, सॉरी, ए स्क्वायर बी स्क्वायर के आगे हमेशा प्लस है। तो इफ यू सी, a square है, b square है, a square है, b square, what is changing is only the middle sign, b का साइन चेंज हो रहा है और ab का साइन चेंज हो रहा है, बट वो अपोजिट है, और b का साइन वही है जो b क्यूब का है। तो इफ यू हैव b क्यूब माइनस, यू विल हैव b आल्सो माइनस, और अगर b पे माइनस होगा ab पे प्लस होगा, एज सिंपल एज दैट। ओके, इसको याद रख लो, एंड ये भी चीज याद रख लो यार एक बार, a माइनस बी होल स्क्वायर तो मोस्टली याद होगा ही, a स्क्वायर अच्छा प्लस माइनस है तो प्लस माइनस 2ab प्लस b, ठीक है। इफ इट इज a plus b whole cube, then what is the idea, a cube plus b cube plus, some people remember it like this, 3ab into a plus b, some people directly remember it like 3a square b plus 3ab square, ठीक है, I mean just this bracket I am saying, बाकी a cube b cube तो आएगा, और प्लस की जगह माइनस करना है तो what you do, just put minus in front of b, जहां जहां पे b है उसके सामने माइनस रख दो। if you want to make this minus, तो b के सामने माइनस रखो, तो b के सामने माइनस रखोगे तो ये माइनस हो जाएगा, यहाँ पर b के सामने माइनस रखोगे तो दिस विल बिकम -3ab एंड दिस विल बिकम a minus b। ओके, यही करना है तुम्हें सिर्फ। ओके, तो यू कैन जस्ट राइट दिस एज प्लस, इधर माइनस लिखने से अच्छा है कॉमन में इधर प्लस माइनस लिखो, इधर प्लस माइनस लिखो, यहाँ पे प्लस माइनस। बेसिकली a प्लस बी होल क्यूब याद रखो, अगर a माइनस बी होल क्यूब जरूरत पड़े तो जस्ट कीप just substitute b with minus b and you will be good to go. Okay, chalo. So now this again, as I told you, if there is any equation of z which you have to solve, just assume z as x plus iy and then you can proceed. पहले question देख लेते हैं. If a complex number z satisfies this equation where this is so, then what is mod z? ठीक है, first let's try to find out what is z, है ना? Let's put this thing in this equation. So z यानी x plus iy plus root 2 mod of z plus 1. Mod of z plus 1 यानी z plus 1 क्या होगा by the way? Z plus 1 will be x plus 1 plus iy ना. प्लस 1 करना है तो कहाँ करोगे? रियल पार्ट में ही ऐड करोगे. रूट 2 टाइम्स mod of plus I equals 0. Now, what can we say that root 2 times mod of x plus 1 plus iy plus x equal to 0. ये क्या किया मैंने? ये बाकी चीजें क्यों इग्नोर की? सी, any equation which has complex numbers is always an equation disguised as two equations. ठीक है, मतलब क्या? बेसिकली कोई भी अगर मैं इक्वेशन ऐसी लिखता हूँ ना, x plus y plus ia plus ib equal to 0, so I'm not writing actually one but two equations, because in this equation, if the entire thing is 0, then the real part has to be 0 separately and the imaginary part has to be 0 separately, because real part cannot contribute to the imaginary part to make it 0 and vice versa. तो यहाँ के जो रियल नंबर्स है उनको अलग से लिख के 0 कर दो और जो इमेजिनरी नंबर्स है उनको अलग से लिख के 0 कर दो. Now the good part is this equation might be a little difficult to solve, but this is very easy to solve. So equating the real part to 0 and then equating the imaginary part to 0 will solve your equation. So first step, so it's very simple. Put z as x plus iy and write the equation. Second part, in that equation, make the real part 0, make the imaginary part 0. मतलब whatever is given in RHS. 0 की जगह अगर मान लो यहाँ पे दिया होता 2 plus 3i, just in case. तो इस रियल पार्ट को मैं 2 से इक्वेट करता, इमेजिनरी पार्ट को 3 से इक्वेट करता. अगर i के साथ लिख रहा हो तो 3i लिखूंगा, वरना only 3. Okay. So now it is 0, so everything is 0 0 only ना, 0 plus 0 है. So now iy plus I is 0, that means y plus 1 is 0. You just cancel out I, so y equals minus 1. So the value of y is directly given now. So now you can just put it over here and find out x. So root 2 times x plus 1 plus minus 1i plus x is equal to 0. This is what you will have. अच्छा, अभी इसमें भी क्या कर सकते हो? You can take minus x on that side and divide by root 2. What will be the value of this? It will be something like this, root over x plus 1 whole square plus I into minus 1 whole square. Sorry, just minus 1 whole square. I क्यों बोल रहा हूँ मैं? Is equal to minus x by root 2. Okay, this is what you will get. Now what you have to do? Now you have to solve this. So you will have to take the square on both sides. So if you just take the square on both sides, you will get x plus 1 whole square plus minus 1 whole square is just 1 equal to x square by root 2 will become. Okay. So now if you just simplify this, so this will have x square plus 2x plus 1 plus 1 equals x square by 2. So this x square by 2 will be cancelled from here. यहाँ पे बचेगा x square by 2. So now you have equation like x square by 2 plus 2x plus 2 equals 0. ठीक है. So actually this will become x square plus 4x plus 4 equal to 0. So this is nothing but x plus 2 whole square ना. ये कुछ x plus 2 whole square जैसा दिख रहा है. So basically x equals to minus 2. मतलब if you solve this quadratic, then also you'll get x as minus 2. Now you see कि अरे minus 2 तो ऑप्शन में है ही नहीं, क्योंकि पूछा भी नहीं है हमें. x थोड़ी पूछा है, हमें क्या पूछा है? mod z. ठीक है, तो mod z क्या होगा? एक्चुअली z is what? x plus iy ना. तो z क्या है? minus 2 plus minus 1 into i. minus 1 क्या आगे से आ गया? ये y की वैल्यू. हमें mod z पूछा गया, ध्यान रखना. हमने निकाला x है, तो तुम ढूंढोगे यहाँ पे. अच्छा, वैसे दे आर बीइंग वेरी काइंड विथ यू कि दे हैव नॉट गिवन दिस ऑप्शन एज -2, वरना तुम इसको टिक करके आगे आ जाते. मैं होता एग्जामिनर तो मैं -2 देके आता हूँ ताकि तुम x को ही टिक करके आ जाओ. ठीक है, या फिर इन मेनी केसेस -1 ऑल्सो कि y को कोई टिक करके आ गया. बोथ ऑफ देम आर रॉन्ग, क्योंकि पूछा ही mod z है. ठीक है, तो z तो हमने निकाल लिया -2 - i. तो mod z क्या होगा अभी यहाँ पे, यू कैन सिंपली डू 2 स्क्वायर एंड 1 स्क्वायर, तो √5 विल बी दी आंसर। ठीक है, तो ऐसी चीजें मत करना प्लीज। ओके, when I was a student and when I was your age, I also used to do such things. एक्साइटमेंट में अरे वाह इतना सब कैलकुलेशन किया, एक्स की वैल्यू आ गई, जैसे ही देखी टिक कर दिया, बट ऐसा नहीं करना। ऑलवेज लुक एट व्हाट इज बीइंग आस्क्ड। ठीक है, चलो। तो ज्यादा एक्साइटमेंट वैसे भी खराब ही होती है, तो you don't have to hurry in the exam, है ना? Because I told you, okay, चलो, I understand that this question is maybe lengthy, शायद ये क्वेश्चन तुम्हारे हिसाब से उतने टाइम में होगा नहीं, बट करना भी नहीं है ना, सारे क्वेश्चन थोड़ी हमें 2 मिनट में करने हैं। We have some questions which can be solved in 30 seconds, 1 minute also. You have to utilize that time over here. Okay, so you can also do it like this, कि first round में you do all the easy questions, all the questions which you can do very fast. In the second round you do those questions which you are confident of, but it will take a little more time, and in the third round you do those questions which you feel will take more time and you are not even confident of, then you can attempt. ठीक है, और जो तुम्हें बिल्कुल ही आइडिया नहीं उनको तो छोड़ ही दो। मैथ्स में तो यू हैव टू बी वेरी वेरी चूजी, बिकॉज सी एडवांस का पेपर नहीं है। ठीक है, लेट्स बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट एंड लेट्स फेस इट, हर क्वेश्चन को उतने ही मार्क्स मिलेंगे। यू आर गोइंग टू गेट द सेम अमाउंट ऑफ मार्क्स फॉर एवरी लिटिल क्वेश्चन। ओके, so you don't have to be emotionally connected with any question कि यार ये तो कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर तो मेरा फेवरेट है यार, सीक्वेंस एंड सीरीज तो मैंने कितना पढ़ा था यार, मैं सेट थियरी कैसे छोड़ रहा हूँ। नहीं आता सेट थियरी तो छोड़ दो यार, क्या पता कोई इंटीग्रेशन आसान आ गया हो। ठीक है, सो डोंट बी इमोशनली कनेक्टेड विद एनी क्वेश्चन। एवरी क्वेश्चन हैज गॉट 2.5 मार्क्स। इट्स नॉट जेई एडवांस, जेई एडवांस में हर क्वेश्चन को अलग मार्किंग होती है, यहाँ पे ऐसा नहीं है। एवरी क्वेश्चन हैज द सेम अमाउंट ऑफ मार्क्स, so just do those questions which you can do very very quickly in the first round. ठीक है, फिर second round में you can do those questions which you feel are solvable but might take a little more time. ठीक है, तो ऐसे करते करते you can solve the paper, because obviously no one is expecting you to solve 120 questions in 2.5 hours. तो वहां पर सिर्फ एक्यूरेसी की बात नहीं है, स्पीड की भी बात है। ठीक है, तो इफ यू सिट एट होम एंड इफ यू टेक योर ओन टाइम, trust me, out of 120, anyone who has done a little bit of maths here and there can easily solve 80 to 100 questions easily. ठीक है, but your task over there is to solve maximum in 2.5 hours. ये T20 मैच की तरह समझो ना। if you have 11 good players in your team, let's say out of them 8 who can bat really well and 3 are चलो ठीक है tailenders, उसमें से आजकल तो यार 8 तक बैटिंग हो रही है ना, I mean 5-6 batters and then all rounders and all. So it's not about how much runs they can score, it's not only about how much runs they can score. ठीक है, it's about कि how much they can score in those given 120 balls, in those 2 hours, sorry, in those 20 overs. That is important, तो वही तुम्हें भी करना है। ठीक है, तो मतलब अगर तुम्हारे पास कोई ऐसा प्लेयर है जो बहुत रन बनाता है लेकिन वो टाइम भी उतना लेता है, तो शायद उसको नहीं लोगे तुम T20 में। तो दिस इज लाइक दैट, जेई एडवांस इज काइंड ऑफ अ टेस्ट मैच। वहां पे उतना टाइम का प्रेशर नहीं है, वहां पे क्वेश्चन बनेगा तो बनेगा, नहीं तो छोड़ो घर जाओ। ठीक है, बट दिस एनडीए, जेई मेंस, सीईटी एंड ऑल दीज आर काइंड ऑफ T20 और ओडीआई। मेंस को मैं थोड़ा ओडीआई बोल सकता हूँ बिकॉज वहां पे दोनों चीजें थोड़ी अच्छी है, बट एनडीए एंड ऑल एग्जाम्स आर लाइक अ T20 मैच। वहां पे तुम्हारा स्पीड फटाफट फटाफट करना है और निकलना है आगे। ठीक है, एंड लेवल को इतना टफ भी नहीं है यार क्वेश्चन का। यू आर आल्सो सीइंग सारे पीवाईक्यूज, धीरे धीरे विल इंक्रीज द लेवल। ऑफ कोर्स दिस इज जस्ट द फर्स्ट वीडियो, तो ऐसा भी नहीं है कि यही लेवल एग्जाम में भी आएगा। इट विल बी समवेयर सिमिलर बट slowly will increase the level also. ठीक है, तो चलो, but these are somewhat kind of questions which always come. So again the same type of question, that real part of this is 0, then which of the following is correct. So let's try real part of z minus 1 upon z plus 1. पहले तो इसको लिखते हैं, x minus 1 plus iy upon x plus 1 plus I, and now you have to find the real part of it, then equate it to 0. अब तुम्हें ऑप्शन नहीं है, you will have to do some rationalization, है ना, because you need the real part. तो rationalization के लिए क्या करोगे, डिनोमिनेटर का conjugate multiply करोगे so we always multiply the conjugate of the denominator to rationalize it. So x minus 1 plus iy whole into x plus 1 minus iy. ठीक है, that divided by this. Okay, that has to be 0, the real part of it. So what I have done over here, I have just multiplied with the conjugate of denominator. Denominator का जो conjugate होगा, ठीक है, तो ये conjugate होगा denominator का, नीचे करने की जरूरत नहीं है। मैं नीचे क्यों नहीं कर रहा हूँ कुछ, बिकॉज व्हेन आई मल्टीप्लाई द कॉन्जुगेट ऑफ दिस विथ इट्स ओन नंबर, तो नीचे मुझे एक स्क्वायर का कुछ टर्म आएगा, आई मीन इट विल बी अ रियल नंबर एंड वी नीड द रियल पार्ट टू बी जीरो। so denominator कुछ भी और doesn't matter ना, the numerator has to be zero, right? So just take the real part of this equation and equate it to zero. So when we multiply this, this will become uh, this is x minus 1 plus iy into x plus 1 minus iy, and the real part of it has to be zero. Okay, so let's not even write the terms of I. ठीक है, सिर्फ x वाले terms लिखते हैं. So x into x, x square, then plus x minus I x y आएगा. चलो तुम्हारे लिए मैं लिख देता हूँ सारी terms, but in the exam you can just ignore the imaginary ones. Okay, तो -1, तो -1 से सबको मल्टीप्लाई करो, माइनस एक्स माइनस वन प्लस आई वन. अच्छा, if anyone has any problem in expanding the brackets now, what you can do is just take one variable at a time. जैसे x को पहले लो, तीनों से मल्टीप्लाई करो, that is what I have done ना. x को मैंने तीनों से मल्टीप्लाई किया तो x स्क्वायर प्लस x माइनस आई एक्स, then take -1, so minus x minus 1 and plus iy, then multiply with iy, so plus I x y iy into x plus iy minus I square y square, and this has to be zero. This मतलब the real part of this. तो इसमें से रियल नंबर निकाल के इक्वल टू जीरो कर दो. अब रियल क्या क्या बचा इसमें से, एक्स स्क्वायर एक्स माइनस एक्स माइनस वन, बाकी दोनों आई छोड़ो, लास्ट में क्या है माइनस आई स्क्वायर वाई स्क्वायर मतलब प्लस वाई स्क्वायर, दैट हैज टू बी इक्वल टू जीरो. अब देखो ये दोनों कट गया, बचा क्या, एक्स स्क्वायर प्लस वाई स्क्वायर इक्वल टू वन. पूछा क्या है, वही पूछा है कि विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज ट्रू. अच्छा, बाय द वे ये पूछा नहीं है, बट एक्स स्क्वायर प्लस वाई स्क्वायर इक्वल टू वन यानी कि मॉड जेड इक्वल टू वन ना, बिकॉज मॉड जेड इज जस्ट द रूट ऑफ दिस, राइट? तो अगर एक्स स्क्वायर प्लस वाई स्क्वायर वन है यानी कि रूट ऑफ दैट इज ऑल्सो वन, यानी कि मॉड जेड वन है, इसका मतलब दैट इज व्हाट इज देयर इन द फर्स्ट ऑप्शन, जेड इज इक्वल टू वन. अच्छा, वैसे इस कंडीशन के बाकी चीजें भी ट्रू हो सकती है, बट इफ यू सी द अदर टू ऑप्शन, मॉड जेड इक्वल टू टू, ये तो गलत है, एंड इन दोनों में मॉड अलग आ रहा है ना. एक्स स्क्वायर प्लस वाई स्क्वायर करोगे तो इस केस में क्या आएगा, रूट टू आएगा, इसमें भी रूट टू आएगा. ठीक है, सो दैट्स व्हाई फर्स्ट वन इज द करेक्ट. so if you see this question was actually not that lengthy, मैं इसको भी लेंदी मानूंगा, बट इसको मैं लेंदी नहीं मानूंगा क्योंकि इसमें तुम्हें डिनोमिनेटर सॉल्व ही नहीं करना था. इसमें न्यूमरेटर को बस एक्सपैंड करके आई वाले टर्म्स छोड़ के रियल को जीरो करना था, बस खत्म. ठीक है, दैट वाज द ओनली पार्ट दैट यू हैव टू डू. ओके चलो, आई हैड एक्चुअली टेकन एक्स्ट्रा स्लाइड फॉर दिस, बट इसमें हो गया वो. एनीवे, so now again the same thing, equation of z, again we will take z as x plus iy. Let's try it. Mod of this plus x plus iy is equal to 2 plus I. Now again, just look at this. This is a modulus thing. That means this has to be a real number, right? This is also a real part, and this is the imaginary part. मतलब real number, real part both. यहाँ इस RHS में क्या है? This is the only part which is real, and this is imaginary. So just equate same वापस. So you can say that root of x plus iy, sorry, mod of x plus iy plus x is equal to 2, and iy is equal to I. That's it. Just equate the real part, the imaginary part, and you are done. Iy equal to I, that means y equal to 1. जैसे ही y equal to 1 दिखा तो you can maybe eliminate this option. इसमें y is equal to 2 है. अगर भगवान का साथ होता तो और भी किसी ऑप्शन में eliminate होता, but now let's put this value of y over here and solve it. So this is just x plus iy, because y is equal to 1 na, sorry, plus x is equal to 2. So root mod of x plus I is equal to 2 minus x. Okay, so let's just take the mod of this. It will be root over x square plus 1. That has to be equal to 2 minus x. Now we can take the square on both sides. We'll have x square plus 1 is equal to square of this. तो मैं सीधा इसका स्क्वायर लिखता हूँ, x square minus 4x plus 4. तो भगवान का एक और साथ है कि x square कट गया. It is not becoming a quadratic equation. 4 यहाँ पे चला जाएगा, minus 5 equal to minus 4x. That means 4x is equal to 5. Is equal to 5 by 4. Again we have y, we have x. याद है पिछला एक क्वेश्चन था, in that they had asked mod z, this they had asked directly z. ठीक है, तो which is 5 by 4 plus I. क्या कहा गया? It's not there in the option. Okay, sorry, it will not be 5, it will be 3. Okay, so don't be like me, don't do such faltu stupid silly mistake. It will be 3 by 4. मेरा और सिली मिस्टेक्स का थोड़ा है यार नाता, सबका होता है बट मेरे और भी मैंने आई हैव डन अ लॉट ऑफ ब्लंडर्स इन लाइफ. In in my JEE advanced paper, I had marked OMR around 50-55 marks wrong. So you can understand ki how much marks I lost. So, but I mean, of course, I'm not sad or depressed anything about it. तब तो बहुत बुरा लगा था. I had cried a lot. But that's what I tell my students, and that's what I want to tell you guys that कुछ नहीं होता यार. See, I messed up these many marks in advanced paper, but today if I see, today if I look back, so it's okay na. It taught me a lot of things. That doesn't mean कि you go and make mistakes. बट व्हाट आई मीन टू से इज कि कोई भी एग्जाम को इतना ज्यादा सीरियसली भी नहीं लेना है कि तुम उसको गलत ही करके आ जाओ. ठीक है, सो डोंट डू सिली मिस्टेक्स. अब ये तो चलो ठीक है, दिस वाज नॉट आउट ऑफ स्ट्रेस, दिस वाज आउट ऑफ मे बी सम अननेसेसरी स्पीड, बट यू हैव टू बी वेरी वेरी अलर्ट इन द एग्जाम. ठीक है, एक तो मेरी एक गलती थी कि मैं हमेशा 3 into 3 को 6 लिखता था, हमेशा. दिस हैज हैपेंड लाइक 100 times विथ मी इन द एग्जाम. मतलब प्रैक्टिस में एक बार भी नहीं, बट इन द एग्जाम दिस दिस वन पर्टिकुलर मिस्टेक हैज हैपेंड 100 times. आई मीन ऐसा नहीं है कि यार मुझे पता नहीं है या फिर मैं गलत याद करके बैठा हूँ. 3 into 3 को याद नहीं करता है ना. एवरीवन नोज इट. बट द थिंग इज कि इन द एग्जाम समटाइम्स व्हाट हैपेंस इज कि वो बोलते हैं ना जिसका डर था वही हुआ. तो दिस वाज माय डर. ठीक है, एंड इट यूज्ड टू कम यार. अब 3 into 3 तो आता ही है कितनी बार. So, you know, silly mistakes can happen and it is okay to do silly mistakes. But such silly mistakes, ऐसी वाली, फिर ऐसी वाली, that should not happen because you are spending so much time on the question and then you are marking it wrong. चलो इसमें तो it was good that भगवान का साथ था and this was not there in the option. But let's say यहाँ पे 3/5 की जगह ये वाला option होता. Because sometimes even they know that what silly mistakes can happen, you know. Sometimes they also give the options which are like mistakes in the last or the second last step. जैसे ये second last step का गलती था. So I'm surprised कि option में कैसे नहीं था 5/4. But many a times the mistakes in second last and last step are always there in the option. ठीक है, so please be very very careful about such things. And इन बातों का ना दुख मनाने का कोई पॉइंट नहीं होता है because these are stupidity and examples of stupidity, nothing else. इसमें तुम्हारा कोई नसीब खराब नहीं था, इसमें तुम्हारा कोई unnecessary तुमको कोई प्रेशर नहीं था, ये तुम्हारी ही गलती है. So please make sure that you don't do such things. And one of the mistakes is again कि पूछा कुछ और है तुम कुछ और टिक करके आओ. And one of is like this कि छोटे मोटे कैलकुलेशंस इधर उधर तुम गलत करो. So please don't do this. आराम से करो पेपर. Again as I have told you, you have a lot of time. ठीक है, we will discuss exam strategy and everything also. मैं धीरे धीरे हर वीडियो में थोड़ा थोड़ा चीज कवर करूंगा. एक ही बार में सारा ज्ञान दे दिया तो फिर पढ़ाई पीछे रह जाएगी ना. चलो, so now let's again try the same. X is equal to this, z power 1/3 is this, then what is this? Okay, so so basically they are saying that z power 1/3 is actually p plus iq and z itself is x plus x minus iy. So what is x by p plus y by q upon p square plus q square? Okay. So x by p plus y by q. Now first thing which should come to your mind is ki how to get this you can say expression. There are two ways. One तो यार you can try and put some values. अब values कैसे put करोगे? Think of two numbers which are cubes of each other. तो जैसे अगर तुमने z को assume किया कि let's take z as 8, is x minus I by. तो z power 1/3 क्या होगा? Will be 2, which is p plus I cube. Excuse me. Now try to find out the answer. But इसमें problem क्या है? Problem is y and q are 0 in this example which we are taking. And यहाँ पे y by q पूछा है, मतलब हमारा 0/0 फॉर्मेट आएगा. 0/0 तो we can't solve. That means we cannot assume such value. ये वाली वैल्यू से assume करना गलत हो जाएगा. अगर तुम्हें करना ही है तो ऐसा कुछ करना पड़ेगा जिसमें एक्चुअल में दो ऐसे तुम कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर्स ले लो which are actually the root of each other. I mean sorry, cube root of one is cube root of the other. ठीक है, now that you will have to think a lot. How to think of a complex number and its root. So that will take a lot of time. So then how to approach this question? So one thing which you can see is here they are taking something as p square plus q square. Now what is p square plus q square? It is something like mod z. So let's try to find out what is mod z power 1/3. That is this. Okay. This is this expression we can get from here. That means what will be p square plus q square? It will be mod z power 1/3 whole square will be p square plus q square. Now this expression we have got. Now how to get this x by p plus y by q? So there any you can say division, like if I just divide z and z power 1 by 3, can I directly get this x by p plus y by q? No, because see अगर मैं सीधा z upon z power 1 by 3 करता हूँ तो चलो LHS will be solved very easily, but RHS में क्या मिलेगा? Now can I get the expression of x by p and y by q from here? I will not get the expression of x by p plus y by p. अच्छा यहीं पे what if we simplify this itself, like if I write something like x cube plus yp divided by pq and that divided by p square. So basically this is not working, कुछ फायदा नहीं. ये क्या है? ये तो और भी गंदा हो गया, इसका भी कुछ फायदा नहीं. ठीक है. So basically what I'm trying to tell you from this is, in such questions you have to see कि from where or from what steps am I actually going to get what is required. ठीक है, जो हमें पूछा गया है, by doing what am I going to reach closer to this expression. ठीक है. So if all these methods and all these you can say tricks or whatever is not working, तो क्या कर सकते हैं अभी? Let's go back to the traditional method. ठीक है, अब traditional method क्या है कि देखो हम z से z 1/3 मतलब क्यूब रूट नहीं ढूंढ सकते, लेकिन z 1/3 को तो रेज टू पावर 3 कर सकते हैं ना. Getting my point? So what am I saying is that even though we cannot find the cube root of z, we can find the cube of z power 1/3, right? So let's try that. Okay, just give me a second. ठीक है, तो ये सब कुछ मिटा देता हूँ मैं ताकि वी कैन स्टार्ट फ्रॉम द फर्स्ट स्टेप. So because that was not working, तो हम क्या कर सकते हैं अभी? Now we will write that z power 1/3 which is p plus I cube, that to the power 3 is x minus I y. अब यहाँ से see what is the benefit of doing this? We can have at least some idea about the relation of p and q. And as I've told you, whenever you write any equation of any complex numbers, you don't have one but you have two equations. Now once we expand this and we equate the real and the imaginary part, तो हमें सीधा सीधा x और y की values मिल जाएंगी. Because over here the real and imaginary part is very clear. So let's try to solve this LHS now. So this will be p cube plus I cube q cube plus 3 p square I cube plus 3 p I square q square, and that has to be equal to x minus IY. So if I equate the real part, so what I'll get is that p cube, इसमें तो नहीं है real, this is also not real, this is minus 3p q square has to be equal to x, okay, because this is the real part. And if I equate the what do you say, imaginary part, then I'll get minus I q cube minus I because this I cube है ना. अच्छा वैसे we don't need to write minus I and all ना, but ठीक है चलो अब लिख देते हैं, plus 3p square I cube has to be equal to minus I y. ठीक है. So we have got some value of x and y. अब एक interesting बात है कि यहाँ से you can take out p common and from here you can take out q common. So you will also get x by p and y by q which is required over here. ठीक है. So here I can get x by p equals p square minus 3 q square. So what I'm doing is I'm just dividing everything by p, and the second equation I'll divide by y. वैसे I तो हर जगह से वैसे ही कट जाएगा, मतलब वही बात है. ठीक. So what will be y divided by q? It will be, this is 3p square minus q square. Now if you just add both of these, इन दोनों को ऐड कर दोगे तो what you will get is p square plus 3p square which is 4p square. अब you have to add ना, हाँ, and minus 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 4q square. Okay. Now and so basically this x by p plus y by q is actually equal to this much. Now what is happening is you have to divide this whole thing by q p square plus q square. So just a second, I think. Okay. अच्छा, okay. So this was minus y ना, so this is minus y by q. So actually this will not be plus. तो minus करने के लिए ये गलत है, wrong, because this is not y by q ना, यहाँ पे एक माइनस साइन भी था ये वाला, तो I skipped that. अच्छा चलो इसको वापस ठीक से करते हैं थोड़ा. So then y by q will become q square minus 3p square. ठीक है. So x by p plus y by q will be, now you can add these two. So q square minus 3p square is minus 2p square, and 3q minus 3q plus q is plus minus 2q square. Okay. Now in the equation you have to divide this by p square plus q square, so just divide p square by. So what you are getting is minus 2 common aa jayega, the answer will be minus 2. So see, again, as I told you, sometimes using easy methods or tricks or some approach might not work. So at that time, what you have to do is you go by your basic uh, methods. Yeah, so basic method kya hai? That you just, if you have one number which is 1 by 3 power of the other, you just take the cube of it and you can equate, and then that is how you can solve it. Okay. So now this one, that if z is equal to x plus iy, z power 1 by 3, this is also 1 by 3 is equal to a minus ib. So what is this? So again, this is a very similar question to the previous one. So I would actually recommend you guys to solve it. It's exactly the same. कि कुछ अलग नहीं करना है इसमें. तुम वैसे सेम भी कर सकते हो, अगर कुछ अलग भी if you have any अलग different ideas, you can say that also. So in fact, what I would suggest is कि you will कमेंट डाउन द आंसर ऑफ दिस क्वेश्चन. ठीक है, तो एक काम करो, इसको तुम सॉल्व करो, इसका आंसर कमेंट करना. ठीक है, इफ एटलीस्ट some of you, or let's say the ones who comment, if I feel that there are good enough students who are actually serious and interested, then I will solve this question and tell you the solution in the next class. ठीक है, अगर किसी ने कमेंट नहीं किया, सबने इग्नोर कर दिया, तो फिर there is no point in me also telling you unnecessarily ना फिर. ठीक है, तो अगर मुझे अच्छे खासे कमेंट्स मिले तो I will tell you in the next video. And see, this is not for me to see your comments and all. What I want is, I want to know if you guys are really serious or not. I want to know with who all are serious. I want to actually talk and interact with all of you who are serious and all. Okay? I honestly do it on a daily basis on all the channels. Like you can see over here, all these three platforms. Yeah, the Telegram channel, the Instagram. This is our WhatsApp channel. So generally, WhatsApp, generally we keep it for enrollments and admissions. But even if someone even if someone messages on WhatsApp, even of course, then also we entertain. ठीक है, तो Instagram DMs I always check, and Telegram पे तो anyway anyone can interact with each other. ठीक है, तो I keep it really open for you all. And अभी तो important है यार. I mean, it's not just about maths or GS. ठीक है, तुम्हारे एग्जाम बहुत ज़्यादा तुम्हारे टेम्परामेंट और माइंडसेट पे डिपेंडेंट है. So there are many people who interact, and there are so I would say serious guys, and people who are really really very serious and really tough, really mentally tough at this age also. It's really nice, it's really heartwarming to interact with such aspirants. So I तो always look forward to interact with you guys here. So please, if anyone wants to interact, किसी को बात करनी है, मैसेज करना है, जो भी है, please do it, and you guys can connect and talk on a call. In fact, I'm also planning to take some doubt sessions, I mean online doubt sessions, which will be of course free and open for everyone. We can do it on Insta live, या फिर we can do it on Telegram. कहीं भी कर सकते हैं. The only thing is you guys must be interested. ठीक है, मैं तो करने को see, near the exam we teachers are thinking entirely about the exam. ठीक है, तो हमारा काम ही है वो. So if you guys need any kind of personal assistance, help, sorry, so you can please feel free to contact. ठीक है, कमेंट करो, देखते हैं कितना लोग इंटरेस्टेड है, and then I'll see if I have to tell the solution of this or not. Sure. Now this again, चलो अब ये क्वेश्चन क्यों दिया है मैंने, बिकॉज अगेन इफ यू सी व्हाट इज दिस पार्ट, यू हैव टू ऑब्जर्व दिस. इसको तुम यहाँ से निकालने जाओगे तो बहुत ज्यादा तुम्हें लंबा हो जाएगा. क्या करना पड़ेगा? x प्लस आई वाई, फर्स्ट यू विल हैव टू फाइंड आउट इसका. अगर तुम देखो तो गधागिरी या घोड़ागिरी क्या हो सकती है. घोड़ागिरी इज बेसिकली नॉट अप्लाइंग एनी ब्रेन्स एंड जस्ट सॉल्विंग. तो इसका घोड़ागिरी क्या हो सकता है? घोड़ागिरी बेसिकली लाइक अ मैराथन, यू कैन से मैराथन मेथड. ठीक है, मैं जनरली उसको मैराथन मेथड बोलता हूँ कि करना कुछ नहीं, बस सॉल्व करते जाओ करते जाओ करते जाओ करते जाओ. ठीक है, आई मीन विथ ऑल ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट टू मैराथन्स एंड कोर्सेस, ये क्या कौन सा मेथड है ये? ही बस करते जाओ, डोंट थिंक. तो इसमें क्या, रैशनलाइज करो, फिर रैशनलाइज करके रियल पार्ट को एक्स से इक्वेट करो, वाई से करो एंड ऑल. बट इफ यू यूज सम ब्रेन्स, जस्ट एक मॉड ऑन बोथ साइड्स, क्योंकि अगर मॉड ले लोगे तो एलएचएस तुम्हारा एग्जैक्ट ऐसा हो जाएगा. एंड मैंने एक और चीज पहले ही बोल दी थी, दैट इफ यू नीड डिवीजन ऑफ टू numbers and if you need mod of them, you first take the mod, then divide, it's one and the same. So if I just take mod on both the sides, तो क्या हो जाएगा, ये तो सीधा तुम्हारा LHS as it is जो पूछा है वही हो जाएगा, and then RHS will become root over, if someone remembers, this is actually root this is actually 169, so we'll write it also. So ये 25 144, ये 916 है ना. Some of you must be remembering also these triplets. So 5 12 and 13 is a triplet ना, तो वैसे this is 169, so root 169 is 13 and this is 5, ठीक है, 13 by 5, so answer is 13 by 5, as simple as that. So uh, the main point of this question is that it's not always necessary to go by the स्टैंडर्ड मेथड, ठीक है, थोड़ा सा दिमाग लगाओगे समटाइम्स इट विल बी वेरी इजी, एंड एग्जाम में अगर तुमको ये क्लिक हो गया तो यू सी दिस इज हार्डली 30 सेकंड, एंड इफ यू रिमेंबर द ट्रिपलेट तब तो तुम्हें शायद जरूरत भी नहीं है सॉल्व करने की, एज सून एज यू सी दिस तुम बोलोगे अच्छा 13 5 13 by 5 आगे बढ़ो, ठीक है, इट्स एज सिंपल एज दैट. चलो, नाउ दिस इज समथिंग व्हिच इज important, so square roots of this. Okay, now again two methods. One is you can try and square these and check which is going to satisfy, ठीक है, वरना what is the conventional method? Just write this, that root of 35 by 4 plus 3i is equal to x plus iy. Okay, and can write x plus minus iy. Okay. Now the thing is that just a second. Yeah. So x plus iy, or else you can write matlab, so you don't know ना कि y पे plus minus होगा x पे होगा. So what you can do is, in fact, okay, sorry for the disturbance. Actually, there was someone who just came suddenly, and I had to, तब उसको भगाना पड़ा कि अरे, so kids keep playing ना. I don't know about you guys. अभी तो तुमको time नहीं होगा खेलने के लिए, लेकिन kids keep playing, so all that noise and all. थोड़ा नॉस्टैल्जिक लगता है, बट फिर क्या करें यार, उनको भी थोड़ा कभी कभी बोलना पड़ता है कि थोड़ा यार शांत हो जाए. तो एनीवे चलो, सो व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से इज कि इसको x प्लस आई वाई ऐसे फिलहाल कुछ मत लिखो, इसको ऐसे ही रहना दो, विल सी द सिचुएशंस व्हिच विल कम लेटर ऑन, ठीक है. तो व्हाट विल वी डू टू सॉल्व दिस, जस्ट स्क्वायर ऑन बोथ साइड्स, सो विल गेट 35 by 4 plus 3i. सो नाउ यू विल नो व्हाई आई वाज सेइंग इट. इसको जब तुम स्क्वायर करोगे तो यू विल एनीवे गेट समथिंग लाइक दिस. So what are the equations that you are getting? One is this, another is so this is basically the real part, and when you equate the imaginary part you will get something like this. ठीक है, अब इसमें दिक्कत क्या है कि इसमें भी xy है, इसमें भी xy है, ठीक है. So you will have to use some method जहाँ पे what you can do is you can maybe substitute x from here in this equation. अगर तुम x substitute करोगे तो what is x? X is nothing but 3 by 2y. So if you substitute 3 by 2y in this equation, so you will get equation something like this. What is x square? 9 by 4y square minus y square equals 35 by 4. Now you can put y square as t. Just substitute y square as t and then just solve 9 by 4t minus t equals 35 by 4. Now you will get a quadratic equation of t. तो t के तुम्हें दो वैल्यूज मिलेंगे, ठीक है. Okay. Now just see that which values will satisfy, and फिर तुम y square को उन वैल्यूज से इक्वेट कर सकते हो. अब होगा क्या, अगर t की कोई नेगेटिव वैल्यू है तो you will anyway ignore it because t is actually equal to y square. So from there you will get the value of y, and that you can substitute in any of this equation or this equation, and you can get x. Now see, if you are getting two values of y and two values of x, हो सकता है कि you might get it, ठीक है. तो ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है कि you are getting multiple values? Because you need to find the square roots, ठीक है. So there will be two solutions ना of this. That's why you are getting the square root. तो चलो ये भी तुम मुझे बताना कि what will be the answer of this, ठीक है. And basically solution तो I have told you, you just have to solve from here on. अच्छा, you can also do one more thing, that you can try and put these values in this and check कि कौन सी equation x और y को satisfy करती है, like from these two. अब जैसे इसी को ले लो ना, 3 equal to 2xy, देखो किस किस में satisfy हो रहा है. इसमें 2xy है क्या? 3 इसमें है ना, because see 2 into x into y. अच्छा सॉरी, इसमें नहीं है, ठीक है. या ठीक है. So in this equation, if you just do 2 into x into y, are you getting 3? You are not getting. In this, if you do 2 into x into y, are you getting 3? Yes, you are getting. तो B आंसर हो सकता है. इन दोनों में माइनस माइनस है तो माइनस माइनस भी कट हो जाएगा. यहाँ पर हो सकता है क्या 2 into 3 into माइनस हाफ? नहीं हो सकता. Why? Because यहाँ पर इधर माइनस है लेकिन यहाँ पे नहीं है, so ये भी नहीं हो सकता. And if you see this, this will also not possible. So actually answer will be B. ठीक है, चलो मैंने कहा कि बताओ but मैंने खुद ही बता दिया. So what you can do is once you have these equations, you can also try with the options कि 2xy कौन सी कंडीशन में सेटिस्फाई होता है. अगर दो तीन कंडीशंस हो जाते then you could have gone to the second equation also. What I trying to say is if one condition is being satisfied, then you can go to the next condition also and then you can verify if you are getting the answers or not. Okay. चलो. Now again this question is same like the previous one. P plus IQ is given and P square plus Q square whole square is asked. So basically what you have to do, if you just take the mod of P plus IQ, what you will get is mod of root A plus IB by C plus ID. Now be very careful क्योंकि ये root के अंदर mod है, sorry mod के अंदर root है. So what will be the mod of P plus IQ? It will be root over P square plus Q square. Okay. Now what will be the mod of this? It will be root over A square plus B square. Because what you are going to do, this is nothing but root of mod A plus IB, na? So mod of root is nothing but this. Basically, you have to take root of this mod, right? And this is also the same thing that you take C plus ID root and then the mod of that, right? Or maybe mod of C plus ID and then the root of that. ठीक है, तो इसको अंदर ही root कर दो, बाहर confuse हो. So once you take the root mod of A plus IB, that will be root A square plus B square, and that itself is under the root. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पर mod के अंदर भी एक root है, so यहाँ पे there will be two roots. Now we have been asked that what is P square plus Q square whole square. So first of all we have to square this. When we square this, we'll get P square plus Q square. So this root will be vanished, but still one root will be left. So it will be A square plus B square by root C square plus D square. Now when you square it one more time, because here they have asked square of that, so then these two roots will also be gone, and then this will be the answer. So again this question was again the very simple question on mod. The only thing is that they had given root inside mod, so you had to be a little careful because there are high chances that people will pick this option, the square of that, है ना? क्योंकि ये पूछा है तो ऐसा ही कुछ, ये भी mod दिख रहा है, ये भी mod दिख रहा है, यहाँ पे स्क्वायर है, यहाँ पे स्क्वायर करके टिक कर सकते हो. लेकिन एक ध्यान रखना कि this is a complex number, this is a number inside the root. We will need one more square to remove that root. ठीक है, so be very careful with such things. चलो, now this is something which I had told you that a lot of times they will be asking you, right? So now just remember that any cycle of 4 will cancel out. Okay, like for example, if I'm taking in this, let's say I take I power 584 common. Okay, any cycle of 4 as in you got na ki I power 2 plus I power 3 plus I power 4 plus I power 5. Everything will be cancelled out. So let's say I take I power 584 as common. So what remains? I power 0 plus I square plus I power 4 plus I power. So there is 90 which is 6, but you can write it square also. Right now I'll just write 6 plus I power 8. That divided by I power 575, 4 is common over here. What remains? I power 0 plus I square plus I power 4 I power 6 plus I power 8. Okay, -1 है बाहर, ये वाला -1 इधर लिखा है, ठीक. So now if you see this and this bracket is directly cancelled. Now what remains? I power 10 minus 1. Now what is I power 10? You just subtract 8 from this. So you will be getting I square minus 1. What is I square? Minus 1, minus 1, minus 1. So if you see such questions are very easy, but they time and again they keep asking such questions. ठीक है? क्योंकि I की series, omega की series, you will see what is omega also. Yeah, I'll tell you sometime. So I की series, omega की series, they will keep asking you. Okay. So always remember that you need to be very careful with such questions. Okay, careful plus you have to be very confident and swift about it because they are like, for me they are free marks because every time they ask these questions. So it's like a given कि हम तो पूछेंगे भाई तुम देख लो, ठीक है, तो that's solve it easily. ठीक है. So now okay, so this is a little good question, थोड़ा अच्छा question है, but इसको हम ग्राफ से करेंगे. So here they are saying that mod z minus 4 is less than mod z minus 2 represents what? So what does mod mean? Mod means distance. Z minus 4, mod Z minus 4 means what? The distance of all those complex number which are from 4. ठीक है, मतलब distance from 4 ऐसा बोल. If this is 2 and if this is 4. So let's say I have a point over here Z. So what is mod Z minus 4? It means distance of this. This is mod Z minus 4. Okay, if this is Z, then this is mod Z minus 4. This distance. So now what does this mean? That distance from 4. And why am I taking 4? Because it is written minus 4 now. 4 means what? 4 comma 0 now. 4 means 4 plus 0 I. So whenever you have something like this means distance of Z from Z1. ठीक है, ये ध्यान रखना कि किसका distance है and from where. So this is distance of Z. This is distance of Z from Z1. ठीक है, so remember that. So when I say Z minus 4, 4 is nothing but 4 plus 0 है. So distance of Z from 4 should be less than the distance of Z from 2. So if you see, whenever you have to compare this less than equal to less than or greater than, you can think of a point which is midway between, where both of them are equal. So where are they equal? At 3 comma 0. In fact, on any point on this perpendicular line, the distance will be same. है ना? You take any point from here, you'll get the same distance, na? Because this is 1 and this height will be the same. This is 1, this height will be same. So Pythagoras theorem say, if you take any point on this line which is perpendicular to 3, all the points will be equidistant from 2 and 4. Now which side do you need? You need the side which is where this distance is less. Okay, मतलब for example, like if I take a point on this side, so this is the distance from 4 and this is the distance from 2. So if you see the distance from 2 is more here, so all these points will be those where distance from 4 is less as compared to distance from 2. यहाँ पे सबका 2 से कम distance होगा. So you need all those points which are lesser at a lesser distance from 4. That means this side of the graph. Okay. So what is that? It means that all those which are on this side. Now what is this side? This is the real part of Z is equal to 3. So this is that side where real part is more than 3. If you see all the points in this plane over here are those which are having the real part more than 3. Na? You can just say that this is the answer. Okay. So very simple. So whenever you get such questions where you have to compare the mod, just think of distance and you can easily find out. Okay. Now see again this question. So it says that mod Z1 equal to mod Z2 so on till mod Zn equal to 1. So what is the value of Z1 plus Z2 plus Z3? So again you can do this through elimination. Okay. Now see, can it be 1? Of course not. Just imagine like all the numbers are 1. Then what will be the answer? 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. So it cannot be 1. Okay. Now for this. Now in this case, this 1 plus 1 is working. But let's say mod Z1 is 1, Z2 is let's say minus 1. So mod Z1, so what will be Z1 plus Z2 plus Z3? ऐसा हो सकता है ना, Z1 plus Z2 1 plus minus 1 plus 1 plus minus 1 and so on. तो इसका mod तो हो सकता है 0 हो जाए. But here we are, what we are doing, we are taking separate mods. That means we are doing 1 plus minus 1 plus minus 1 and all. है ना? Sorry, 1 plus 1 plus 1. So again, this is also not going to work because if we take these as the examples, that 1 minus 1, then this will become 1 plus mod of minus 1 plus 1. तो ये तो पूरा 1 plus 1 plus 1 हो जाएगा, which is wrong ना. So this is also wrong. Now will this be true in the case of reciprocals? Again no, because if we see, you cannot guarantee that if you are adding some complex numbers and taking mod, then you can also add the reciprocals, right? Because it's the same thing. Like see, what if I take 1 plus minus 1 plus 1 plus minus 1, then it is going fine. But what if I take the conjugates? Okay, conjugates such that they are reciprocals. Okay, जैसे what if I take I and 1 I cube and all. So see, what will be Z1 Z2? So let's take these numbers 1 I square I cube. Okay. Now let's take only 3 numbers. So what will be Z1 plus Z2 plus Z3? It will be 1 plus I square. This will get cancelled and this will remain just I. And what if I take the reciprocals and then add? Then it will become 1 by 1 plus 1 by I plus 1 by I square. Okay, so chalo, this is still getting cancelled, but what are we getting over here? Minus I. Okay. Now you might say that okay, if we take the mod of these two, then it is still coming out to be the same. Okay, but this can also happen when you have both the real and the imaginary part. Okay, in this there is only imaginary part, but it can also happen when there is a real imaginary part. So this is again also not necessarily always true. ठीक है, हो सकता है conjugates के case में ऐसा ना हो, like if you take omega, omega square and all, it's high probability that it might not be true. Okay, like for example, if I just take 1 omega and omega square, so what is 1 plus omega square? You all know that this is 0. So what if I take the mod of these two? Okay, let's take the mod of 1 plus omega. Okay, and the mod of all these is 1, so I can take these as examples. So what is mod of 1 plus omega? This is just mod of minus omega square, which is 1. Now what if I take the mod of the reciprocal? Then what am I getting? Again, 1 by omega is nothing but again omega square, so 1 plus omega square is minus omega. So again I am getting 1. Okay, so if you see again in this example, we are getting it to be true. So why is it happening? Because this will be true when we have roots of unity. ठीक है, roots of unity क्या होता है? Like 1 omega omega square or 1 I cube I square and all. Okay, but even in that, like if you see, we are taking one root less than the total thing. Like for here we have 1 I square till I cube, but we are taking one less. यहाँ पर also we are taking one less, like we are taking till omega, but this might not be always true. Okay, so even this is not true. Answer should be none of these. But remember, when it is true, that in some cases it can be true as well. So all the options can be true in some cases, but we need to find something which is true always. Okay. Okay. So now this is something very important. Cube roots of unity. So what are cube roots of unity? Like if you have this equation, x cube equal to 1. So we generally write that okay, x equal to 1 is the solution. But we have a 3-degree solution. Oh, sorry, 3-degree equation. So we need 3 solutions now. So you can just expand this using a cube minus b cube. You will get something like this. Now the solution to this is x equal to 1. But if you solve this quadratic, you will get something like this. Okay. Now one of these numbers is called omega and the other is called omega square. Okay. If you take minus 1 plus root 3 I by 2 as omega, then the one with minus sign will be omega square. Now one beauty about omega is that omega is a cube root of unity. मतलब omega into omega square is equal to 1. है ना? So omega cube is 1 ना, that's why. So omega and omega square, one thing is that they are conjugates of each other. ठीक है? Omega and omega square are conjugates of each other. Because if you see over here, in one there is plus I, in another there is minus I. Real part is same. They are conjugates of each other. They are also reciprocals of each other. Why reciprocals? Because if you just do 1 by omega, you can substitute 1 with omega cube. So omega cube by omega is omega square. So 1 by omega equal to omega square. So vice versa, 1 by omega square is also equal to omega. So they are conjugates of each other. They are reciprocals of each other. Okay, you need to remember these. And they are both of them are cube roots of unity. Also, if you add all three of them, 1 plus omega square, you will get 0. Okay, so if you add omega and omega square itself, you will get minus 1. So even this is used in a lot of cases. Okay, so now let's solve some question. So if 1 plus omega square power m is 1 plus omega power 4 power m and omega is imaginary, then least positive integral value of m is what? So first let's simplify this. Now what will be 1 plus omega square from this equation? 1 plus omega square will be minus omega. So LHS becomes minus omega whole to the power m. And RHS क्या है? Now see omega power 4. Omega cube is 1 na? Because omega is a cube root of unity. What is cube root of unity? Third root of unity. Okay, जैसे I is the fourth root of unity. Unity मतलब 1. ठीक है? So what is omega power 4? Omega power 4 is nothing but omega. Because you can just ignore omega cube. That is just 1. So this is 1 plus omega whole power m. That means minus omega square whole power n. Now what are they asking? That what is the least positive integral value of m if this is true? So this is minus omega power m minus omega square power m. Okay. So 1 to m can be 0 and omega square, when can they be equal? For every third root, because both of them will become 1. Na? See, omega cube is 1. So omega power 6 will also be 1. So for every third root they will become 1. So if I keep m as 3, this will become minus omega cube. and if I keep this m as 3 again, this will become minus omega per, sorry, minus omega square whole cube. So minus omega per 6. Now don't get confused that there is square over here, then how am I writing minus? So this is minus omega square, and that to the power 3. So the power 3 is there for this minus as well. Getting my point? Okay. So this will be minus omega cube, this will be minus omega per 6. So for the power of m equal to 3, both of them will be equal. Okay. So answer is 3. Now again this 1 minus omega plus. So wherever you see the such things, 1 plus omega, you can write this as minus omega square. Here you have 1 and plus omega square. यहाँ पे साथ में नहीं लिखा है, they have written it separately just to confuse you. So 1 plus omega square will be minus omega. So minus omega is minus 2 omega whole to the power 5, plus this will become minus omega square is minus 2 omega square whole to the power 5. So just take 2 outside. So this will be minus 2 power 5. Just take it as common. What is there? Omega power 5 plus omega power 10. है ना? So minus 2 power 5 is nothing but 2 power 5 is 32. So this will become minus 32 because minus sign is also there. Omega power 5 is omega square. You can just ignore the power of 3. Just like we ignore the power of 4 in iota. Here you can ignore the power of 3. So this is omega square and this is just omega. So omega square plus omega is again minus 1. So minus 32 into minus 1 is 32 is the answer. Okay. So like these questions will be asked, and it's very easy to be honest with you. Again, if omega is a complex cube root of unity, then what is 2 minus omega square? This. So first let's simplify these two. Okay, then we'll get a better idea. So 2 minus omega square, 2 minus omega power 10. So omega power 10 can be written as omega simply because this is 9 plus 1. So we can just ignore 9. Now we can ignore the multiples of 3 in omega. Okay. So this is simply 2 minus omega. And for 11, this will become 2 minus omega square. So if you see, these are the same things. So basically it's 2 minus omega square. So 2 minus omega square whole square. So you can do it either way. You can just square these two and multiply, or you can maybe multiply and then try to square. Okay. So if I just expand these two, so what I'll get 4 minus omega square. No, sorry, 4 minus 2 omega square plus omega cube whole to the power 2. Okay. Now 4 plus omega cube is 5. I'll take 2 common. This will become omega plus omega square. So I hope you are understanding. What I did is I just multiplied these two brackets and put the square separately. मतलब ये जो square है इसको मैंने अलग से यहीं पे लिखा है, and I just multiplied these two brackets. Okay. So 2 into 2 is 4. Then 2 into minus omega square, 2 into minus omega, and omega into omega square. Okay. So 4 plus omega cube is 5 because this will be 1. Then I will take minus 2 common from these two. Minus 2 omega plus omega square. Now this will again be minus 1. Minus 2 into minus 1 become 2. This will actually become 5 minus 2 minus 1 whole square. Yani ki minus 2 into minus 1 is just plus 2. So 5 plus 2 is 7. 7 square is 40. Okay? Simple. So again, these are all PYQs and these are recent questions only. These are not like कि कुछ बहुत ही 10, 15, 20 साल पहले पुराने questions. ऐसा भी नहीं है. These are all very recent questions and such questions keep on coming. ठीक है? So again, similar question, if omega is a complex cube root, then what is x plus y whole cube, x omega plus y omega square, and x omega square plus y omega. Chalo. Now this question is a little, I would say, interesting and tricky. So tricky to bilkul nahi hai. Actually, it's interesting only. You have to follow the same concept. The only thing is over here, now you don't have the same coefficient on omega and omega square. Generally, what happens is we have the same coefficient, so we just take it common, and then we solve for x and y, or maybe the common coefficient, है ना? Sorry, then we solve for omega plus omega square. But here the coefficients are different. Okay, तो ये वाला चलो, ये भी तुम्हारे लिए एक kind of homework है. ठीक है, इसको तुम comment करना. First, what your first task is just to comment the answers. Okay, I will see कि how many of you are getting the correct answer and wrong answer. And of course, यार, please be honest and be serious. ऐसा नहीं कि अब ये PYQs है, तो you will get this question everywhere on the internet. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि तुमने गूगल पे देखा आंसर और आंसर को आके कमेंट कर दिया, वैसा मत करना. ठीक है, वैसा तुम अगर जब इंटरेक्शन के लिए आओगे तो मुझे वैसे भी पता चल जाएगा कि किसने सही में क्या क्या सॉल्व किया था. Okay, so don't just blindly comment the answer. Solve it and then only comment. Because what will happen when you are solving, if you have a doubt, you can ask that doubt also. ठीक है, तो डाउट भी पूछोगे तो तुम्हारा ही ज्यादा फायदा होगा. ठीक है, rather than just commenting blindly. Okay, now again z is r cos theta I sin theta. अच्छा चलो, this is also one thing that this is called as e power I theta. पता होगा तुमको, है ना? So z is equal to r e power I theta. Okay, now what they have asked, what is the value of z by z bar, z bar by z. So whenever we have z bar, that means we are going to put theta as minus theta. Z bar will be r e power I minus theta. So z by z bar is the first expression. Second expression, z bar by z. So it is uh, z by z bar, it will be r e power I theta divided by r e power minus I theta plus the opposite of this. So r तो हर जगह से cancel हो जाएगा. What will be remaining is e power I theta. When this goes above, it will also become e power I theta. So it will become e power I 2 theta. Okay, and this will become e power I minus I 2 theta, because minus I theta minus I theta will be minus 2. So you all know that. If you don't know that, then I will just tell you. If we just do not consider this r, then cos theta plus I sin theta is e power I theta. Okay, where e is the Euler's number. If you want to write r also, you can just write it r e power I theta. Also, this theta is the argument, you can say, and this r is the modulus. Okay, so if we just expand these two now, तो ये क्या हो जाएगा? It will be cos 2 theta plus I sin 2 theta. And what will be this? This will be cos of minus 2 theta plus I sin minus 2 theta. So sin 2 theta and sin minus 2 theta will be cancelled, because sin minus 2 theta will be minus sin 2 theta. Both of them are same, so they will be added. So it will be 2 cos. Okay. So if you see, this Euler's form is also very, very important. In fact, so many of the derivations of trigonometry are actually easily possible through this. अब तुम बोलोगे what is the relation of trigonometry and complex numbers? But trust me, all these things, na, tan 3 theta, sin of a plus b, cos of a minus b, all the compound angle formulas, the double angle, triple angle formulas can be derived using this equation. Many of you will wonder how, but chalo, of course, now this is not the time to learn all those derivations and all. But in my regular classes, in my complete courses and all, I always try to teach in this way only, where we first see the concept. We see from where is the formula coming. Because if I'm saying that sine 2 theta equal to 2 sine theta cos theta, then that is coming from somewhere, right? No one has randomly observed it. Because see, when you say that this is a formula, or when you say this is an identity, it should be true for all the values in this world. So if something has to be true for all the values, then it has to be a foolproof thing. Okay, it cannot be just a simple observation. If it is working for some values, then it is true. It might work for 10 values, 100 values, 1000 values, but how will you know that it is going to work for all the values? है ना? So that's why it's sometimes it's important to also see the derivations and all. But anyway, अभी उतना टाइम नहीं है हमारे पास, ना ही अभी कोई ज़रूरत है. But this is a very, very, very important and useful pattern which you have to know. Okay. The argument of complex number. Okay, so again argument का question आ गया. So argument, you cannot directly like take out the argument of this and then you can subtract. That is not going to happen. So what you have to do, you will have to simplify first. So let's cross multiply. So this might become I square minus 2 times 2 is 4 divided by 2i. So I square is minus I, sorry, minus 1 minus 4 is minus 5 by 2i. ठीक है, but we need I at the you can say above ना, तो हम क्या कर सकते हैं, minus 1 by I we can write separately into 5 by 2. Why am I doing this? Because you can write 1 as I power 4. Okay, so I power 4 by I is I cube. This will become minus I cube into 5 by 2. I cube itself is minus I. So this will become minus of minus I, which is 5I by 2. Now if you see, again the real part is not there. There is only the imaginary part, and there is a plus sign. Na? Plus sign, that means it's only imaginary part and first quadrant. Okay, what will be the amplitude? It will be pi by 2. Okay, if you go by the formula also, you will get tan inverse of y by x, 5 by 2 divided by x, which is 0. So tan inverse of infinity is pi by 2. and because y is positive, so which quadrant? It is the first quadrant. First quadrant, the answer is simply theta. Theta means it is pi by 2. Okay. So so here we come to the end of these 3-4 topics, which was your we started from set theory, then we went to functions and relations, then we went to some range domain questions, and then we did this complex numbers. Okay. So next class will be starting with quadratic, and I will also take a few more topics. I mean quadratic से शुरू करके और कुछ और topics लेके similar 50-60 questions will be there. And as I've told you, you can also treat these as mock papers. Okay, like every 2 or 3 videos can be considered as one mock paper. Okay, but of course, I mean in actual paper the weightage of questions is not like this. But towards the end, like maybe the third week, I mean the last week, what I'll do is I'll just solve one mock paper. Okay. So in that you will also get the idea ki what is the exact level of the question paper. In fact, I have also set my own mock papers. I have a lot of question papers that I have set for my own students for the course. I will just share those question papers and those set of questions in this group on Telegram group. So if you want to practice more mock papers and questions, so you can just come on this group and you can see those question papers. That will, I'm sure, that will help you more. Okay. So I hope to see you all again in the next class and with the same level of excitement and uh, curiosity. So chalo, I hope you like the class. You can drop your feedback in the comment section. And also, if you have doubts, mainly, so please let us know about your doubts. Okay, chalo. So bye bye. Take care. I hope you all have a very great day ahead and jai Hind.